Hello, I'm RJ City, and you are listening to the MonsterCast. You're going to talk about Bela Lugosi. They're going to talk about Lon Chaney Jr. be so sad, holding his hat, saying, "Please put me in this room and don't unlock the door." And you can't do any better than the Dahl brothers. Jack and Ryan, they're brothers, but they're also bros. What? Pardon? Wrestling. Well, who the hell wants to talk about wrestling? These are horror movies. It's a deep genre. It's a smart genre. Fantastic actors. Fantastic cinematography. Wrestling is just sweating and fireworks and bouncy ropes. There's nothing. So how can you talk about that every week? All right. Let's see them try. Take it away, you crazy dolls.
You.
Jesus fuck my fucking ass. What the fuck? Please shut up.
No. Like that. Master Watto is a
shut
champion.
up.
You're gonna put some
Stop
respect on his
fucking
name
saying
now.
Master Watto on this fucking show.
IWGP Junior Heavyweight Co-Champion.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Apple Fightful here. You're watching the MonsterCast with Jack and Ryan. A big shout out to those fellas. Good people. Check them out.
Oh my god, what is this?
It
Who
looks
is
like a
making
TV.
the New Japan titles? They need to stop
It
making
looks like
titles.
a TV, bro. They took it too literally. That's the problem.
They should have just turned it into a TV. I would have been more impressed.
That would have been cooler.
Put some
Make
antennas
it-
on the top.
No, just make it like a digital title. Like you could display whatever you want on the
Oh,
digital.
like an
title.
LCD screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then have
That'd be
the
sick as
picture
fuck.
of the person that's the champ. That'd be so good.
Oh fuck.
That'd be worth it.
Wrestling podcast. How fucking original.
Jake and Brian. Brandon Cutler here from AEW, and I hope you guys have an awesome podcast with the MonsterCast. What was that? Your name is Jack and Ryan? Shut up, Jack and Ryan.
Tell me who you would sign first.
Hiroshi Tanahashi.
No, not overall, genius. Between the two goddamn examples I'm about to give you.
Master Wada.
Killer Cross or Dominic Dijakovic, who are you signing first?
Killer Cross. 100%.
What the fuck?
Absolutely.
Wrong! That
No,
answer is
I would.
wrong.
I would.
Oh
Killer Cross.
my god.
You don't know shit! Your opinions suck!
I guess I mean, you're welcome.
Fuck,
See,
I'll boo it.
but I don't think I've ever said boo.
I will.
That's so stupid.
I'll do it. Boo! Boo! You don't actually say the word because that's why it sounds weird. You gotta, it's like more like a note. Boo! You don't fucking actually say boo. Boo! 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 You don't turn it into a fucking chant. You actually have to.
I will. I'm gonna do that at Forbidden Door.
Just start a boo chant. Boo! 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 Boo!
Here's your host of the MonsterCast, the Straight Edge Monster Jack and Ryan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MonsterCast. I'm the Straight Edge Monster Jack. That's Ryan right there. We got a big show for you today, and I'm going to be dropping stars like fucking Meltzer after a show in Japan, baby. I got 3 5-star matches that happened this weekend, or maybe 4. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I got like 4 5-star matches, I think. I want to say 3 or 4. I think it's 3. There's none from Fastlane. Let's go ahead and get that out the way. No,
None?
no. No. It'd be lucky if anything hit 4 on Fastlane.
Let me think. Yeah, the wrestling wasn't the best.
I mean, I won't say that it was the worst show I've ever seen from
No, it
WWE
wasn't.
from top to
It was
bottom.
like
I mean, it was kind of entertaining once you like got past all the dumbness of the weeks leading up to it.
Mm.
Like if I just watched that show in a vacuum, I think it'd be okay. It's entertaining or whatever. But it also felt more like a Attitude Era SmackDown than it did a pay-per-view. Is that fair to say?
Well, the Last Man Standing match kind of sets it a little bit apart. Not because it was so great, but because you don't normally have those on a television show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. In the Attitude Era, you had all kinds of fucking stipulations constantly, but all right.
Yeah, but they normally wouldn't do a last man standing because of the time. So, and commercial breaks. It kind of takes away from some of the drama, doesn't it?
They had Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar in an Iron Man match on SmackDown, so come on, man.
Iron Man match is a little bit different. It's a set amount.
Oh, because it was Ruthless Aggression, so it doesn't count.
No, it was a set amount of time. But the I thought the Cody J tag match was good.
I would say the in-ring work I would say is solid, but it was nothing that I have to go back and watch again.
Oh yeah,
so there's no 5 stars.
No.
We're talking about 3.5, 3.75
like
maximum.
A solid 3.5 card.
I thought the 3-way was solid between Charlotte, Asuka, and Io, but like,
yeah.
But it wasn't nothing that they haven't all done before. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I did like Asuka spitting right away. That was fantastic because it was a no DQ because it was a triple threat. So she just spit right at Charlotte's face right away. That was fucking awesome. Like in the first fucking 2 minutes of the match.
I'm not holding this shit in all match. Yeah, that was. I
don't know,
thought,
why didn't she just do it again? I would have went down. I would have fucking spit in Charlotte's face, and as soon as the EO came in, I was spitting her fucking face and won the match, dude. Fuck it.
How much miss do you think she has?
I've seen her spit multiple times in a match.
Yeah, doesn't she have the little?
I think that was
baggies or
different
whatever
colors
that
though. Wasn't that one when she had different colors? I think she did red and then green, or green and then red, or some shit like that.
Yeah. And apparently she has the little baggies or something that's just like stuff somewhere in her outfit. I don't know how the fuck they stop him from bursting when she takes moves.
Like a pelican that holds it in the gullet. I don't know, man. Spits it up when needed.
Still on a fucking string that she's biting onto.
Before we start getting into the nitty gritty of all this, because we're not even starting with Fastlane, but anyway, it was a huge week of wrestling, of course. I am rocking the Vince Carters today. I'm rocking the Nike Shocks. Now, this is technically a blue, but it's kind of like a bluish purple. I've only wore these a couple times, but as you can see, because of the Shocks, and they got the crazy bottom, like they've already been kind of scuffed up at the bottom. But
you gotta spell WrestleDream correctly. And what the fuck is Fastlane? What is with your title is all fucked up.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I was using this fucking keyboard over here, and I can't. Can I change it mid fucking thing?
I think so. This says WrestleDream.
Oh
and
shit! I look
Fastlane.
I look like everybody else on Twitter. Then hold on, give me a second.
We're
I don't know if I can do it mid
banking services.
I can on Twitch, but I don't think I can do. Hold on, let me go to actually. I'm glad you pointed that out, man.
So
I mean, I could change it afterwards, but no one's gonna be able to find the fucking video if no one's searching the incorrect spelling of these shows. Give me a second.
Nobody's searching Fastlane.
Fastlane. I might be getting the wrong kind of people.
Yeah, and get them a
WrestleDream wasn't that bad. It's just I messed up the 2 letters or whatever. Fastlane, so good. Fastlane is so good.
WWE Fastlane, you're gonna get all those fucking Conrad Mortgage customers.
Can I edit this? Hold on, let me see if I can edit this, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Settings. Oh my god, I might not be able to edit this. I mean, I can edit it afterwards. I can edit the title, but I want to edit it now. Oh, that's so bad. Go. Your channel. Let me try it on the computer. Hold on, let me try it on the computer. I'm going to mute the desktop audio in case it comes through, because I don't know. All right, so I can still hear you, but you're going to be sounding like you're in a Godzilla movie, or looking like you're in a Godzilla movie. All right, give me a second. And I'll just mute the video when I go to it. Oh, this is so embarrassing. I don't know why I didn't check it before I did it. Edit. I don't know if I can. Edit. Oh yeah, sweet. Okay, here we go. WrestleDream. I love how it says Fastlane is not correct. Thank you. Fastlane. Save. Now I don't know if it'll update right away for you, but it is now correct. And now you're back live. Anyway, so these are the Nike Shocks BB4s that Vince Carter rocked back in the day. So I'm rocking those today for the show. I didn't really have any like purple shoes besides like the Gatorades, and I didn't feel like rocking the Gatorades today. I might rock those some other time this month. Maybe if I put on the Dark Order mask or something to match those. I don't know, but I got the Galaxy headband to match because I don't really have a lot of bright green stuff. But I got more purple stuff or other stuff to match the Daphne shirt that I'm rocking today. But anyway, a lot of popcorn, a lot of stuff going on today. And like I said, I'm throwing out some major stars. But first, I do want everybody to know that for every new YouTube subscriber for the month of October, we will be shaking the virtual 8-ball that is right now currently still the wrestling journalist. So if we need to ask him something, we can still get him in here. But at the end of the month, we will be changing all the replies in the 8-ball to different items that we can donate to the local Humane Society here to help out cats, dogs, and their employees as much as we can. So far, we're up to 142 subscribers. When this started, it was 136, I believe. So that's already 6 things we have to donate.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So we're keeping track of that, guys. So thank you for the subscriptions over the last week. All right, let's talk and get into the hot tag topics. And of course, we have to start with the WrestleDream review because that happened Sunday. It actually happened after No Mercy, but I don't really want to talk about No Mercy right now. So we're saving it for later. I try to book this show kind of like Tony Khan. I want to make it flow together. Do what?
We don't have to talk about it at all.
I got a 5-star match on that show though.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where they were coming from.
I will start here. WrestleDream review. Overall grade for WrestleDream?
I don't know. It's been a long time. Let's see. WrestleDream. Oh yeah, I remember this. It does seem like it's been a long time,
dude. Every time we do a show after a pay-per-view from a Sunday to a Sunday, dude, there's so much other shit that's already happened in wrestling. It's insane.
What was your? I guess your 5-star was what? Danielson and Jr. Sabre Jr.
So I was right. It is 4 5-star matches. So I got 3 in WrestleDream alone. Got Danielson, Zack Sabre Jr., Swerve Hangman, and Christian Darby all got 5 stars from me. Oh, also Ryan. Shout out to Ryan because he won predictions. He gained a match on me for the Christian Darby pick, even though everything that happened, I said would happen. In fact, let's go back to the tapes. Here we go. Here's the video from last week. I've got it up. Ryan also looks like a genius because he agrees with what I say and then lays it out exactly how I say. So I got you in there too because why not have someone that's gassing you up and making you even more correct? So thank you for that, even though you stole it and got the victory out of it. So here we go. Let's just watch this video right quick, and you'll see me break down exactly how this all was going to go. Well, I have Luchasaurus on this one.
I have Luchasaurus too. Nick Wayne hasn't won a single fucking match as far as I know. And it doesn't make any sense for his first win to be over somebody that just lost the belt. And storyline wise, as far as later in the night, it makes more sense for Luchasaurus to like beat the absolute shit out of Nick Wayne to like.
See, here's my thing about it. This match really does the way that you pick it really is dependent on how you think the main event is going to go between Christian and Darby, right? I feel like that because I feel like Luchasaurus is going to beat Nick Wayne, and there's a big part of me that thinks Nick Wayne is going to turn on Darby at the end.
So it would make sense for Christian Cage to win, him and Luchasaurus to be beating down Darby, maybe do the thing that you were talking about where Nick Wayne doesn't come out to save him or comes out and beats him up because he doesn't feel like he's been on his side or whatever, and then you have Edge come out and fucking clear house or whatever.
I'm completely going against what the fuck I said at the beginning of the prediction show, 100%, because I actually think Nick Wayne is... I want Nick Wayne to come out and cost Darby the match and then Adam Copeland to come out. Okay? That's how I want it to go. All right, there you go. And no, that's not the same shirt. That one is a little bit more V'd out. And it's about time to change that one, I think, Ryan. But he's got a little bit tighter shirt around the neck today. So no, he just has a shit ton of black shirts. He's like Pat McAfee, but with black shirts. Fabletics. Oh, okay. Yeah. Fabletics had a nice sale this weekend. I almost jumped on that for pants. But anyway, that's another story. I didn't get any, but... What?
I don't like their joggers.
Yeah, that's what was on sale. Well, they were like $19 or something, and they were originally like some astronomical amount of money.
Well, they say they were, but they never are.
Yeah. They just do the Shopify thing where they have it marked out to make you think that they're worth that much. Yeah, I get you. Well, there you go. I've got those 3 matches being 5 stars. I don't think Meltzer Meltzer only had the Danielson Zack Sabre Jr. and he had that like 6.5 stars or some shit like that. Anyway, I don't do that. 5 is my cap. I don't give a fuck. 5 is my cap. But he gave like 4.75, I believe, to Swerve and Hangman, and I don't remember what he gave Christian Darby off the top of my head.
Let's see. He gave it 4.5.
Okay, so 4.5. Was I right about the 4.75 for Swerve and Hangman?
Yes, 4.75.
Okay, I gave all 3 of those 5. So I disagree with Meltzer, and he gave what? It was a 6.5 for Danielson. What was it, 5.5? Okay, 5.5. All right, my bad. But yeah, 5 is my cap. So, so those 3 matches. Of course, you also had Statlander versus Julia Hart, FTR and Aussie Open. Like, well, so what did you think of the pay-per-view? Grade the pay-per-view. Now that you know what it was.
It'd take me a minute. The wrestling on it was all good. Like, I don't think there was a bad wrestling match. The only one that felt kind of slow to me was FTR and Aussie Open, which I was kind of surprised about because, you know, they've had a good match before, and it's not like this one was bad. It just took so long to build up to the last couple minutes of it being good that I wasn't. I don't know what it was. I wasn't super.
Kyle Davis getting hurt again, bro. Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah. Mark Davis, by the way, not Kyle. But
My bad, I mixed them together.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10 if I'm doing an out of 10 system. So A plus. It was a good show.
Yeah, yeah.
There was nothing bad on it. There wasn't like a single bad match on it. Even the Starks Yuta one, which, you know, it's Starks versus Yuta, you already know what's going to happen. The way they've been telling the story, Starks is obviously going to win. And, you know, you can kind of even figure out how the match is going to go just from hearing the 2 people that are in it.
I mean, just the interaction they had backstage, Yuta pretty much told you how it was going to go. Just the way he talked to Starks about, oh, I always get beat up, but I always get right back up or whatever, and I get my ass beat every day and all this other shit. Like, you're literally telling everybody basically that you're going to lose this match.
Right. Yeah. Even the pre-show stuff was okay. I thought the
3
TMDK
matches. It ended up being 14 matches, like we had said on the prediction show. There was 2 more matches added in with the Claudio and Barnett, and then the crazy 4-on-4 match with Keith Lee, Athena, Billy Starks, and who was his other partner? Oh yeah, Kojima, the bread guy. Yes, of course. I don't know how the fuck did I forget bread guy. And then of course, my favorite part of that whole thing was Jim Ross asking Excalibur to explain the bread thing, and he's like, "Hey, he just likes baked goods." He's really a fan of baked goods. Accurate. And then they went against Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, Diamante, and Mercedes. Correct? I believe that was the tag team that they had.
Yeah, Lee Moriarty, Shane Taylor, Diamante, and Mercedes. Yep.
All right, so 14 matches. It was crazy. I didn't watch the fucking scrum till the next day because that was a long ass show.
There was a match I wasn't crazy about, the MJF Righteous handicap match.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I get it. I get what they were doing. I get why it was booked the way it was. Still, I never really like it when an established tag team loses a 2-on-1. It never makes any sense to me. And we've talked about
no one on this show does. We've been very adamant about this in the past, even though I didn't think the Righteous should have been in that spot anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I still didn't want them to lose a 2-on-1 handicap. They should have just either rescheduled the match or had MJF find another partner, and then that's where you bring Wardlow in. Or something like that. I don't know. Because, of course, everybody's pointing to the MJF on his tape. Obviously, everybody's like, oh, is he going to join him or is he going to beat him? No, he's clearly pissed off. He's going after this motherfucker.
You don't write someone's name on your wrist. He came out
there and destroyed him and then left through the crowd and was like pushing people off him, not even high-fiving people. He didn't smile. He wasn't a good guy. He's coming to fuck MJF up, who is currently technically a babyface. So, no. Why would he come over there and fucking join him?
If anybody's like writing your name on their fucking wrist tape, it's not because they need to remember who you are to go be your friend, okay? It's like motivation.
Yeah, MJF didn't pass away. He's doing that because he's about to kick his ass.
It's not a fucking armband. It's so stupid. I don't know who's confused by this, but apparently.
Oh, there's people. There's people asking the question, dude. Anyway, I agree with you. I give it Yeah, I'll get A plus. There's three five. I gave it 3 5-star matches. There's no way it's not an A plus.
Yeah.
There's just not. I mean, 3 out of 14, but still a lot of fucking matches.
But
the other ones weren't like, I don't, besides the tag team match, I'm not sitting there seeing a bunch of 2s or 1s. They're all 3 something or all 4 something or 5. There's nothing under 3 stars besides the 2-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah. Well, Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne.
No, I like seeing him get his ass kicked, honestly.
I guess.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
What'd you think about them
If
having?
it was under what is it? Wrestling Observer. If it's under 5 minutes, it doesn't get a rating or something like that. Was it under 5 minutes? I can't remember.
I don't remember. What'd you think about them having Omega lose again?
Dude, I'm done. I'm done picking Omega. I'm fucking done picking you, Omega. In fact, that might be one of the reasons why you keep losing is because I keep picking you. I don't understand what's going on. I know when he destroyed fucking Mighty Mouse on the Street Fighter game, he had mentioned at the beginning of it, I mean, destroyed. Fucking, he mentioned, it's going a lot better than my wrestling career now. I've lost like 10 or 11 in a row or some shit. And they have been playing up the storyline that Don Callis is saying he can't win without me. So I understand it. But how do you keep having iterations of all these different teams with fucking future Hall of Famers and can't beat Sammy Guevara on the other side, who always takes pins? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you should not have lost that match.
That was a weird part to me because, like, didn't they add him in there specifically to take the pin? That was the
and
whole,
then they had him beat Jericho. So Omega. You're using Omega to further other storylines that no one cares about.
I would say nobody cares about it, but yeah, it is.
Sammy Guevara and Jericho's been going on for 4 fucking years.
Yeah, but not always in the same dynamic.
It's basically Bloodline at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's stretched out. It's a little stretched out.
All right. So we both give it that. Is it safe to say that Danielson Zack Sabre Jr. was your match of the night, like everybody else's? Or did you like Swerve Hangman more?
What makes you think my match of the night wasn't Kingston versus fucking Shibata?
That match was crazy. Oh, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah, that match is they beat the shit out of each other. 4 point.
Shit.
I don't know if I want to go 4.25 or 4.5, but it's up there. It's definitely up there. It's definitely 4 something.
Yeah, I think just like overall favorite match, I think that one might be my favorite match of the night. But that's also kind of the style that I like too. But Danielson and Sabre Jr. was really good too. It would be between those two. I
really like Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. Don't get me wrong, because that's kind of my favorite style. It's more of the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, or like Jerry Lynn, RVD type matches where they're both very even and they have the similar styles, or they can both do similar styles or whatever. I like those matches. Now, not to say I don't love a good fucking Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs, because I do. I love people beating the shit out of each other too, but I just like, if I had to pick one or the other, it would be that. But don't sleep on Swerve versus Hangman. I'm surprised I did not get 5 stars from Dave Meltzer, because they did such a good job of doing like when he did the 450 on the arm, for instance, and it looked like he missed from the camera angle, but if you actually look at it, you know what he was doing. And there was like there was no pop, because I don't think a lot of people realized what he did, and I guess they thought he missed or something. But that whole match was done very well storytelling wise, within the confines of the match, that almost was like separated from what they were doing leading up to it for the storyline. So it's almost like Swerve beat him because in the storyline, he was like, you're just the same old Hangman. You've been doing the same shit for this whole time or whatever. I'm up and coming. I'm the one that's actually changing. I'm the one that's evolving. And yet I'm still not getting opportunities, and you are. Then they have the match. Swerve changes his style a little bit, does a little bit more high-flying shit than he's done recently, ever since he bulked up. Hangman's still trying to do the exact same shit. He works on the arm, takes him out, ends up beating him, and basically proves to Hangman that he was right the whole time. Then, of course, you had the promo with Hangman on Dynamite, I believe, where he was like, oh, I guess you were right, although you still had to cheat to beat me type deal. So they protected Hangman in a sense. But I thought that match was really good. The only reason I would slightly give it to Danielson over Zack Sabre Jr. over Swerve versus Hangman is because of the finish. That's it. That's literally it. We all knew that Swerve needed the match, but come on, man.
They they didn't need to do that finish to tell that same story. Because if the whole story is, you're not evolving, you're stagnant, whatever, then you have him win clean, and then for Hangman to get his match back later, you have him start breaking out some new shit. That's a very
Or have Hangman cheat to win. Either way, that would work too.
Hangman cheat, yeah. I think another part of the Danielson Sabre Jr. match that raised it a lot for me was having Mox on commentary. So
Moxley commentary all night was, hey, hold on, let me get my stars out. Get some stars out for Moxley commentary. There you go, right there.
Commentator of the year. I don't think he could go out there and do it every night and be entertaining or anything. Because
we're talking like early Jericho, like COVID Jericho Dynamite, right? Like if it's every now and then, it's like, oh man, that's really good. You should have him on a couple more times. But then Jericho started getting a little repetitive and annoying, and yelling into the mic constantly is very fucking annoying. But John Moxley yelled into the mic too. But John Moxley, it was funny because he had that really good breakdown of Zack Sabre Jr. and Danielson and their styles or whatever. And then Nigel just turns around like, take a breath or whatever. Like, because he took a little bit long to explain it. But like, he didn't mess up when he was trying to say it or anything. It took a while to say. Nigel is starting to piss me off. It's about time for Nigel to get in the fucking ring with this Danielson. I'm so sick of Nigel on commentary with Danielson, dude. It's so annoying. Just fucking get back in the ring, dude.
Danielson shouldn't be ducking him. I'm injured,
how can you duck an announcer?
I'm injured, but I can wrestle the next week because they had talked about having a match at.
Yeah, I know. And then Danielson got hurt or whatever. I know because I saw the picture of him in his old school fucking gear or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Got hurt.
Great shape, but you don't need to be fucking killing this man every other. The motherfucker just beat Zack Sabre Jr. He can beat you.
It makes sense to me though. I mean,
I like every other fucking line though.
But here's the thing. The heel commentator thing is annoying when it's for everyone, but for him to be a pretty normal commentator and then a heel commentator for one fucking guy that in the storyline it absolutely makes sense for him to hate, I'm fine.
If they end up doing the storyline, yes, okay. That all gets wiped away like fucking Days of Future Past X-Men. I don't care, that's fine. But if they never end up doing the match, that's fucking I can't go back and watch those matches. It's gonna be so fucking annoying.
They will eventually. I don't know what it does for Nigel. Aside from
depends on if he gets the win. If it's like Danielson's last match and he puts him over. What if Nigel comes back full time? That's what I'm saying.
He's not going to. He's just not going to.
Let's say an Alex Riley situation where you're on NXT a commentator and then try to come back for NXT and then get released 2 weeks later.
Could be. That could be why they hired him.
But yes, he has toned it down because when he first did come over, he was still heel Nigel from fucking NXT and it was very annoying.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about those prediction records right before we move on, though. We got them updated here. I am now 101-27. That's right. I broke the triple digits, baby, in the win column. And Ryan is 96-32. I believe our next one will, I assume, be Full Gear predictions, which is on a Saturday, by the way, this year, November 18th. At least I don't have to call out for that one. Woo-hoo-hoo. I did have to go to work for WrestleDream because it was a double point night at my job. Because of some shit going on here. They got a big festival thing for this whole week called Cruising the Coast. Yeah. So if I didn't get COVID the week before, I would have been able to call out and it would have been no problem because I could have ate the points and said fuck them. But because I had called out because of COVID and couldn't cover it, fuck me, I guess. But I did watch it the next morning. Right when I got home, I started watching. Actually, we watched it at work, believe it or not. On the down low, we watched it at work while we were doing mods, and then I watched the scrum when I got home. That night at work went by very fast because that was like a fucking 5-hour pay-per-view because we watched the pre-show and the fucking pay-per-view at work. I had to charge my phone at lunch because I was already down to 20%, and I had full charge going in, dude. It only charged up back like 50%, and I went back. I was like, man, I hope I can finish this fucking pay-per-view because I still had like fucking 3-4 matches left. It was insane.
The at the scrum. Why were people so convinced that Christian Cage was like legitimately talking shit to Brian Alvarez?
I don't know.
That was weird.
He's clearly in character the entire time.
In character the whole fucking time. They're all like, oh, you finally put him in his place. Bro, he's in fucking character. He's also lying. He was literally on fucking commentary for Nick Wayne versus Darby Allin. And when he gets asked a question, he's like, no, I've never seen Nick Wayne wrestle. Like, if you don't understand that he's like a fucking character, bro, I don't know what to tell you. Like, how are you that much of a fucking mark that you can't tell that he's in character while he's replying? People are so fucking happy to see him get shit on or whatever. It's like he didn't shit on him. He didn't fucking say anything.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Meltzer or Alvarez fan, but even I mean, I don't know what it is about the internet these days where or they see something and they automatically think it's real. Your initial thought should always be that this is fake, not real, ever.
Very weird.
It's not. Social media is not real. All right, like legit. Like 90% of the shit you guys see is fake. I don't understand. And that also leads me into this whole conversation a lot of people were having about that chick that was on TikTok or whatever that was floating around said what's your biggest ick or whatever, and she said people that like wrestling, and then more specifically people that like AEW because it's an advanced version. She called it an advanced version of WWE. That shit was funny as fuck. But anyway, like everything that you guys consume is fake. As far as what comes out of your monitors is fake. Video games are not real. Fucking TV shows, movies, they're not real. Fucking all these fucking TikTok people that act like they got sprayed in the eyes or beat up by somebody. You can clearly tell that it's staged. All of it is fake. And yet you still complain about professional wrestling being fake or being something that people shouldn't be into, that it's for kids, etc., whatever. Everything you guys consume is fake. Everything.
And not to mention, people, I don't know if they just don't know this or what, but when Alvarez said that, oh, I had a match with his father or whatever, he didn't just have a match with Buddy Wayne. Buddy Wayne trained Brian Alvarez. That's why he's asking those questions. Like, it's not, people are very, why do you, I don't understand. I don't understand. Why do you have our, are you playing our video again in the middle of our shit?
Yeah, from last week. What are you talking about? I played it from last week. I did that a long time ago. Are you on that big of a lag?
I guess so. Sorry, no, I just glanced over at it and saw it in the middle of it. But yeah, no, like the whole storyline fake. We're all still in fucking kayfabe reason that Brian Alvarez is asking the questions because Buddy Wayne trained him. Like he's playing into Christian's character during that, and people it went completely fucking over their head.
All right. So, I mean, did you like that version of Scrum better, where they had a lot more people, but just shorter time frames to ask questions? There's a lot of people on that Scrum compared to usual. I mean, it was like 30 minutes longer, but you get what I'm saying. He had like fucking 5-6 more people than usual.
Yeah, and then he brought out
Shibata and Orange Cassidy at the same time, right? He brought out Danielson. He brought out Christian. He brought out Edge. He brought out Statlander. And he brought out
Adam Copeland. MJF was out there.
MJF. And then I think there was another set of two people. Yeah, Jericho and Omega. That's right. Yeah. That was a lot of people.
Yeah. No, I was fine with it because I feel like it reduced some of that awkwardness where you get like 4 or 5 questions in and then they're all just kind of like sitting there waiting for another question.
Because everybody got their question already asked. Yeah, probably. Because everybody's probably sitting there with, I don't know if Tony tells these people who he plans on having out there during like the media calls or whatever, who possibly will be in the Scrum or whatever, like to the Sean Ross Saps or the Xenias or whoever.
Well, apparently WWE didn't tell Jay and Cody that they were going to be doing a fucking Scrum.
Holy shit. No, not until too late. Not until it was too late. That was probably the best Scrum moment ever. That was better than most of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I think I said on Twitter that they should all wrestlers should start having their celebratory drinks before they go do these Scrums in both companies because it makes.
I mean, they had the first match of the night though, right?
Yeah,
pretty sure. So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A local.
And I said, "Do you feel him, sir?" That shit was funny as fuck. Do you feel him, sir? So good. All right, let's move on. Speaking of Adam Copeland, let's talk about it. He is now officially All Elite after WrestleDream. He's also already appeared twice since then. Once on Dynamite, once on Collision. Let's talk about this. Thoughts on it, because it'll lead into my next segment with Punk. I want to know from you. So obviously there was a lot of discourse because everybody's viewing it as they just gave him Punk's money basically to get his ass over there, right?
Maybe.
So
I mean,
will it be
it's
the
not
needle
the same look.
mover? Will it be the needle mover that AEW needs from the other company's fans like Punk was, or will it just be like, oh, he's a legend that happens to be here and nothing more in a few months? I think it would be great if Christian stole Adam's moniker and said he was the real rated R superstar, since he's the one that has the balls to drop F-bombs on live TV, while Copeland settles for cheap pops from the AEW crowd. I think that would be funny, just because he stole the TNT title, then he eventually won it. Like, if he just started coming out there and calling himself the real rated R superstar, I think that'd be fucking funny. I also, on the other hand, though, in my opinion, away from the needle mover question, not sure I'm a huge fan of Edge literally is in the scrum, literally on Dynamite, talking about I came over for all these dream matches, and you're initially just thrown into the thing with your best friend of 40 years that you've already had a shit ton of stuff with.
Okay, so I don't agree with that, because I feel like that's such an elephant in the room that you have to get out of the way first. But what I didn't like was him positing it as, I came over to have all these dream matches, let's set up a tag team. I'm fine with them interacting. And I'm fine with them clearing that up first, but I didn't.
I will say though, like, to your point, even as a tag team, at least they're not wrestling each other, and there are several dream matches with tag teams that they could have with the Young Bucks, House of Black, FTR, etc.
Yeah, they got to sort out the whole Christian's a dick thing first.
Which I don't know if they want to do anytime soon, because he's like S tier level heel right now.
He's killing it. So why change it? The alternative is you have him convince Edge to be a heel.
Nah,
but I don't know if you break him in and then turn him heel immediately. So yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Did he call it that? Did he call it a copacution on commentary?
Oh my god, yes, Ian Riccaboni, dude.
Jesus Christ,
you couldn't come up with nothing else. I think he wanted to say, and by the way, there's no fucking TM trademark on fucking education. You could still call it education, dude.
Yeah,
you could still call it that. The educator, the education, all the shit that he had, like RVD's Van Daminator shit. You could keep all those names. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. I did not understand that. I rolled my fucking eyes so hard, dude. I'm like, copacution.
Please don't do that again. Please don't call that.
Jesus.
Don't ever do that.
I love him, but Jesus Christ.
I mean, Ian is a nerd. Let's be real. He's a dork, but still, like, that was. Could you imagine the hate that fucking Excalibur would have got online if he did that?
Oh,
if he called it that? Holy shit!
Or shit, even Michael Cole. Like, if Michael Cole was in that spot and called something like that, yeah.
Man,
there's no
crazy.
commentator that could get away with it. I don't think.
Hopefully, it flew under the radar. No one heard it besides us.
Hopefully. I doubt it. Yeah, hopefully they come up with a real name for it.
I mean, this is clearly setting up to be Edge, Sting, and Darby versus Nick Wayne, Luchasaurus, and Christian at some point, though, right? Probably at Full Gear, 3-on-3.
Yeah, probably. Sucks for Darby, though. He's going to have to carry that whole fucking match between them veterans. So they're not taking too many bumps. What'd you think about...
Speaking of bumps, I don't know if Darby's going to be ready by then. Because that motherfucker took some ugly shit in the Christian match. That stair spot, dude. I'm so glad. Could you imagine, dude? So Christian clearly gassed because he's already been fucking wrestling for 20-something minutes, right? Clearly fucking gassed. Has him up. Like, he can do it.
Oh,
it's just like,
spot?
I don't... Yeah, the original spot. If he would have dropped him then, that would not have been good. I'm kind of glad that they went and redid it. Actually tried to redo it twice, I believe. But anyway, when he finally, even then, when he finally still did it, dude, I don't think he was comfortable with not being able to see the steps.
Yeah.
And being as gassed as he was. And I think that's why he just said, nah, fuck it. I'm going to just drop you on the floor and then we'll just try it again or something. Maybe the steps were too far away, you know, something like that. But when he finally did it, brutal.
Nasty. The thing, like, you could tell, it's so funny having those moments where in wrestling, like, you know, this is the bad guy. You know, he really wants to hurt the other guy. It would make total sense for him to just fucking throw him. Who cares how he lands? I'm trying to
the
fucking
crazy
hurt
thing
you.
is that Darby wouldn't have cared either. Like, Darby would not have held it against him because Darby's fucking insane.
But it still doesn't really take you out of it, even knowing why he's adjusting. Like, you can tell in real time, like, oh, he doesn't think he's gonna be able to make that.
And
you kinda
then
just make it make
AEW, I'm
sense in your
glad
own head.
AEW got in the headset that he was okay so that we could show it 5 more fucking times because Jesus Christ, y'all acted like y'all knew he was okay right away. We're doing fucking slow motion view. By the way, hearing the fans all go, oh, when they're in slow motion. You're doing top down view. You're doing fucking real time view, sped up view. I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? Y'all just don't give a fuck, dude. And then when the motherfucker gets on top of the ropes and hits him and he doesn't move at all on the fucking stretcher, that I don't know how he didn't shit his pants, honestly. A straight weight coming down on you. You didn't move at all.
Well, it's hard to on a stretcher.
That was fucking brutal. Like, no bounce, though, is what I'm saying. Like, Christian didn't bounce off either. Like, just stood on him. And then he kind of just, like, pulled the thing down himself or whatever.
Yeah. I also liked in the scrum, somebody asks him, why did he start taking the canvas off the ring or whatever? He's like, because it hurts more. What do you mean? What a stupid fucking question. there's a lot of
is
stuff.
It dumber? What question is dumber, right? What question is dumber? That one or
don't
the
even
Taylor
remember,
Swift?
Don't make me remember it. God damn
The Taylor Swift question.
So stupid. Who the fuck? Just revoke that dude's passes forever.
Jesus it was a dude that said it?
Or a girl or whoever.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I'm pretty sure it was a dude, yeah.
I saw the video going around and I didn't even watch the video because I mean they already said what they asked, but
yeah, I watched the whole scrum. I'm pretty sure it was a dude that asked, but no, it was so stupid.
I mean, I don't know if you saw my tweet or not, but I came up with a much better way to ask that question that wouldn't have been so stupid and offensive, right? So I don't know. Are people liking it? Oh, close. No, I've been very active today on the social medias. Also, we're also Real MonsterCast also available on Blue Sky, guys. Just so you know. Currently, shout out to Dave for the invite. All right. So I said there was a better way to ask the Taylor Swift question without sounding dumb as hell. Something like, for instance, with the recent wave of attention Taylor Swift has provided the NFL in various ways, and with male celebrities coming in and performing well in WWE like Logan Paul and Bad Bunny, is there any women out there you think could come in and do well in a spot like that? Why couldn't you just ask that?
Yeah.
Do you want to wrestle Taylor Swift? What the fuck does that mean? Is Taylor Swift showing some fucking signs that she wants to get in a WWE ring? Did she challenge someone I don't know about? That's the dumbest fucking question. There's so much better ways to ask that.
Do you know of some problem between Io Sky and Taylor Swift?
Yeah, is she not a fan of Damage Control where she's going to take them all on and find 2 partners or something? Like, what the fuck is happening here? What kind of shit is that?
That is weird. And it's so funny because if you think about that question asked to a guy about any celebrity, any just random fucking celebrity that has no inclination of physical fucking involvement in any sports or anything like that, it would just be so stupid. It's like, oh yeah, so Robert Downey Jr. is really famous right now after that Iron Man movie. Do you think you'd like to get in the ring with Robert Downey Jr.? Who the fuck are you talking about? None of this makes any sense. That wasn't okay. People are shitting on that question a lot, but there was honestly a question at the scrum that I hated more than that. And it was when Triple H came out, and it was one of those fucking dick riding questions. Like, oh, like everybody's doing so good and you're doing such a good job. And how do you do such a good job? It was one of those questions. Like,
those are the please ask me to come back questions.
God, it's so fucking annoying.
Please let me come back and do this again. Let me kiss your ass.
It was literally like, oh yeah, everybody's working so well together. You guys have been on such a good run of all the most highest grossing whatever. Like, how are you doing such a good job? Like, fucking. Ugh.
Did he answer though?
Oh, of course. Well,
you know, shit. It all started when I got taken off the board of directors and I was able to focus more on the product.
Hey, and he does this. He has this tick that he's like a pattern tick that he does. Somebody will ask a question and he'll give like a very brief like overview of the first like 4 words that come to his head and then say right. So something like blah 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 blah. Oh well.
Making sure that you understand and are following along.
It's about teamwork, right? And then he'll go into his explanation. Like, it's a weird little habit of his.
It's like he's looking for confirmation, so he's like, okay, I'm saying the right thing. Let's go off with this thought.
to himself.
All right. So
confirming
what about the needle? What about the needle moving question part of it?
on Edge?
Yeah.
So on their socials, if I recall correctly, the 2 videos that they had up of Adam,
We can't get
their
sued. We'll be
highest
all right.
by
Why, I
far.
don't know why we're worried about calling him Edge or not. That's
Because
fine.
it'll be the same fucking thing that we did with
Danielson.
Danielson, where we still fucking mix it up
Every now and then, yes.
Yeah.
But
Omega
for some
mixed it
reason,
up
I messed it up with him, but
That's
not
right.
Claudio. Like I don't know why I haven't messed it up with as much with Claudio.
I've never, since he came out as Claudio, I don't think I've ever thought Cesaro when I look at him. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because the other 2 are so close.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no. As far as their social media stuff, I know that the videos that he was in, they were way higher than the other stuff that they put out. So yeah, I mean, he's a needle mover in the sense that people definitely care about him enough to watch the product if he's on it. I think maybe part of the reason for doing the Edge and Christian thing first too is for that reason, to get eyes on the product, because whether you're a WWE fan or not, or whether you're an AEW fan or not, rather, if you are familiar with WWE and you're familiar with their storyline arc and that they've done stuff together before or whatever, and then you hear, oh, Edge and Christian have a program in this other company, you may be inclined to go watch that. Like if in the same way that I guess if like fucking Hangman and Kenny went over to WWE and you had never seen them, you had never watched WWE in your life, you're like lifelong AEW watcher, you've been with them since the beginning, have never watched any other wrestling. If you heard that, oh yeah, Hangman and Kenny are having a feud right now over in WWE, you'd watch fucking WWE. So I think that's where my brain is at on it. I think it'll definitely move some eyes over there.
All right. And the reason we asked that is because of our next topic here. Game on. Is CM Punk headed back to WWE? There's been reports that saying that they're trying to get a deal done currently. And I guess my main thing is that because it's rumored and it's rumored enough that we need to bring it up on the show. And that he may be able to debut in Chicago at Survivor Series. Does this interest you as a wrestling fan in any way, shape, or form?
I don't give a fuck. If I could never see this man wrestle again, I wouldn't give a fuck. He's not that good of a wrestler for me to give a shit. If he were a really good wrestler, if he were like, even at like and when I say even at, I don't mean that like this is like C tier or whatever, but I'm thinking of somebody that's very good that people don't always think of in like the top 5 conversation. Pac. Like Pac is a fucking amazing wrestler. He's easily top 10 for me if I had to name like 10 guys that I think were like top 10. If CM Punk were wrestling at a level like approaching that, I might care more about what company he goes to or whatever the fuck. But he's not. He's nowhere even fucking close. So I don't care. He's a problem. He's annoying. He's like super fucking self-absorbed to the point of having no self-awareness. Causes problems literally everywhere he fucking goes. If he does go back over there, there's so many people over there that already don't fucking like him that there's already been reports from WWE sources of top level talent who are like, yeah, if he comes over here, he's gonna have to like apologize and make amends and get that fucking cleared up with a lot of other wrestlers here first. Like, no fucking shot is he just gonna come back and walk into the locker room like everything's cool. And I don't think that he has the temperament or the personality to do that in a way that's not going to come off either fake as fuck or that he might be able to pass it off as real for about 2 months before something irritates him and then everything sucks again. Like he's just
here's my issue with it. My biggest issue with it as the Punk fan of the show, my biggest issue with it is that everything you've said since you left that company, everything that's happened to you from that company, everything that AEW represented, that was everything that you said in your pipe bomb and everything that you said bad about AEW, it's the anti-version of that. It was literally built for you. Tony Khan has been on record saying that he wanted to sign you first. When he came up with the idea to start his own promotion, you were the first one he wanted to sign. You took another 2 years to see if it was going to last before you decided to jump on the bandwagon. They rolled out the red carpet for you. You can't fucking last 2 years before you get kicked out, not once, but twice. Okay? Now, did you have a very good run in it? Yes. Did your fucking return sell you shit ton of merchandise? Got the biggest pop of all time in wrestling? Yes. But it does. If it doesn't outweigh that, what makes you think it's going to outweigh anything in WWE? And to your point where you're saying that you can't see him without him being fake. He has to be fake if he's going to go to WWE because that shit definitely don't fly over there. My other point is I'm not really on the side of the wrestler saying, oh, he has to apologize, because those guys are being just as fake as CM Punk is going to have to be. They're all company men over there. No one's going to fucking start some shit with CM Punk and possibly be the one at fault, and then they lose their job. That's just not how it's going to go. So I do agree that he's going to have to be fake as fuck, but there's not going to be he has to apologize to Roman Reigns. Just put his ass on Raw. He don't have to apologize to anybody, because if fucking Triple H and Vince McMahon and Nick Khan say that he's fucking signed, they're just going to have to fucking deal with it.
Here's the thing, though, and you say that, but the truth is Roman Reigns has enough pull where he could just say, no, I don't want to fucking work with Punk.
He don't have to work with Punk. He's on SmackDown.
But that's what they're talking about. They're saying that if he wants to work with some talent, that he's going to have to fucking apologize. Because some people do have the pull to just say, no, I don't want to fucking work with him. Absolutely not.
Especially you don't think Punk has the pull to say, okay, well, that's fine, I don't want to work with him either?
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is the entire context of that conversation was for him to come over and work with certain people, he's going to have to apologize. So, yeah, you could say, oh, well, just put him in the fucking, I guess, essentially the mid card, because who the fuck else is going to wrestle that he wouldn't have to say something to at this point? You know.
There's a lot of people there that are not mid card that he wasn't there when he was there before.
Okay. Who that he doesn't also have problems with anyway. You think, I'm sorry, you think they're going to bring in Punk and his program is going to be Punk versus Nakamura. Okay, then what?
What do you mean, then what?
Then what? What's after that? Because at a certain point, he's going to run into a Roman Reigns. He's going to run into a Seth. He's going to run into a Cody.
Seth already said that he'll work with him. It doesn't matter.
He's going to run it. Yeah, but you think that's not going to still be problems? Come on.
No, I don't. Actually.
Punk can't shut the fuck up.
No, if Punk causes it, I agree with you 100%. But I think, like you said, Punk is going to be fake as fuck because he knows that if WWE doesn't work out again, he's fucking done.
He can go to Impact.
I'm agreeing with you, dude.
He should go to
but
Impact.
I think he'll be on his best behavior because he has no other options.
He can go to Impact.
Okay. Where's the lie? Who's going to fight? Bobby Fish? In front of nobody?
Yeah.
Don't start your shit with me, dude. You gonna fucking fight Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer at Impact? Come on, man.
After all the shit between CM Punk and Bobby Fish.
My thing is, I don't understand if CM Punk got the itch at all and it wasn't motivated by money to come back to AEW, right?
No, he's spite.
He was gone. And how long was he gone from WWE?
Wasn't it
7
9 years?
No, I don't think it was 9. 7 maybe?
Yeah, maybe 7.
I think it was 7.
I was living in
Nobody in New Japan wanted you? You mentioned New Japan in the pipe bomb, by the way. Why didn't you go over there? If you still loved it, why did you go to UFC?
He didn't fucking go to goddamn New Japan. He can't.
He was still good. He was still good when he left WWE, bro. I'm not going to sit here and disagree with your assessment of his current state as far as a wrestler, but when he left WWE, he was good. He's definitely good enough to be in New Japan. I don't know if they would have gave him, I'm not talking about like be Kenny Omega or Jay White or whatever, as a fucking gaijin. But he could have been on the level of like a Lance Archer when he had his solo run. Easily.
I feel like they value in-ring work too highly to take him seriously enough to put him at the spot on the card.
Because they don't do enough promos for him. Get over. Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, I get that part of it, but they still do. They do a lot more promos backstage now because obviously that's the way they do it after matches in big pay-per-views and stuff than they did even then. So it's probably would have been even harder for him to get over because they didn't really start doing that till recently, where they were all coming back there and doing the fake scrum thing or whatever.
The thing is, New Japan doesn't have like promo segments. So yeah, like there's never going to be like, oh, he's going to come out and cut a 20-minute fucking promo with some other guy in the ring, and then they'll both go backstage, and that's it. And if you close the show, you get a promo, and you get a promo backstage after matches, and then sometimes there's a press.
Well, he could have done the promo when he comes out to challenge the dude that won the main event.
Yeah, when you close the show, you get a promo. That's it. I don't think that would be enough for them to really do whatever the fuck he thinks he'd be worthy of doing.
I just don't know why he didn't try, I guess is my main point. You were gone for 7 years and you mentioned them in the pipe bomb. Maybe I'll go to New Japan and defend the title after I win it against Cena or whatever, and maybe I'll go back to Ring of Honor, all that kind of stuff. He didn't try to do any of that stuff. You're telling me that Ring of Honor wouldn't have took that motherfucker back? Come on.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But I think his whole mentality at that point, or what he was saying anyway, was that he was he didn't love wrestling anymore or whatever the fuck, right? So it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't go to another
7 years, dude. Did he love getting his ass kicked in UFC? Did he love that?
That's right. He wanted to go to UFC. Which everybody told him, you have no fucking like mind-body connection at all. When everybody watches you move, like it's so obvious you're uncoordinated and fucking awkward. Like there was no shot he was ever going to do anything of note. They even got in his second match, they pulled in a guy who had a 0-1 amateur record, and the only he was a fucking photographer, and that dude slapped him around so much for 3 rounds that Dana White got mad and never let that dude fight there again.
No fucking and I know it doesn't sound like it on the show, but I am a huge Punk fan. But like, if he goes back to WWE, I'm not watching WWE for Punk. I'll watch the PLEs like I have to for the show, right? I'll try to watch as much as SmackDown and Raw. God fucking forbid if he's not on Raw, because Raw is fucking a chore right now to try to get through 3 hours of that shit. But I cannot, in good conscience, agree with everything that he said while he was in WWE towards the latter end of his career, all the way to the Art of the Wrestling podcast with Colt Cabana, all the shit that he said in AEW and before he got to AEW about WWE on panels and stuff like that, and then just sit there and watch him go back to that company where nothing's changed. Vince is still in charge. Triple H is still in charge. You cannot fucking come out there that first night on Raw or SmackDown or whatever the fuck that first night's going to be, when you're on doing your promo while you're back, and there's no amount of spin you can put on that that's going to make me believe anything that's coming out of your fucking mouth. I'm just done with it, honestly. If he goes back there, he's the biggest hypocrite that's ever been in wrestling. The ultimate carny.
It's so funny that he'll be like, oh, they fired me on my wedding day and all that bullshit, and like you would go back to a company like that? That kind of makes you not look great, Though there is one really funny way he could do it. He could come out and say, in 2014, I left sports entertainment. And in 2023, I'm back, baby.
Oh, that would be great. That would be. I mean, that's hilarious, but I'm still pissed. Honestly, I'm not. That'd be funny just because it would almost be a dig at WWE at the same time as him trying to, I don't know though. Like, he's out of options at this point because NWA's dead. Ring of Honor's bought by AEW, and he's not going to New Japan at 42 or whatever the fuck years old he is, 43 years old. I think his birthday's in October, so he's about to be another year older. So like, it's just not gonna happen, bro. It's just like, I understand that this is his only option, but at this point, you would have been better served to go take some anger management classes and fucking apologize and try to come back to AEW a third time and try to make amends than going to WWE, which is the ultimate stupid fucking thing to do in the fans of yours eyes. Anybody that's a real fan of Punk, the reason that you're a fan of Punk is literally because he had the balls to stand up for himself, to leave that company that treated him like shit, that fired him on his wedding day, like Ryan said. He won the lawsuit against them. He won it. He fucking talked all that shit. For him to go back there, fucking dumb to the nth degree.
I think the word cucked gets used too much by people, but that would be the most cucked fucking behavior. To sit there and talk so much shit about that place, about what they did to you, how they fucked you over, like how they wronged you, how in the right you were, how they misused you, didn't utilize you, didn't know how to fucking book, that Vince McMahon's doofus son, when he took over, the company would still be fucked up, and then to go back and go work for that doofus son.
The funny thing is that everything that he was saying is kind of still accurate, and he was still right, which makes it even dumber for you to go back, right? So they're still doing the Saudi shows. You're going to be on the Saudi show? You're going to be the ultimate hypocrite. You go back to Raw, SmackDown, under WWE, sign that contract. You're going to be the ultimate hypocrite. Your first match going to be against The Miz? Ultimate hypocrite. Like, You're going to be part of that 2-for-1 extravaganza at WrestleMania next year?
Yeah, that's the big one.
Ultimate hypocrite. Like, how do you not see this? Why would you not swallow your fucking pride and do the right thing, which is to fucking make amends with the company that you were with, that is all about what you fucking said this whole time that you wanted wrestling to be, instead of just tucking your tail between your legs and fucking going to the company that you got fired from?
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? That's what he says he wants it to be. But when it actually is that, he's got a problem with it. So maybe he's realized that's not what he wants it to be. Maybe he does like some sports entertainment. But my thought on that is, even if he'd gone to anger management and apologized to people or whatever the fuck, like it's at a certain point, he's not gonna win back over the people who have ample reason now not to trust him in that company. So I don't think it would have worked out either way.
The craziest part of it to me, honestly, is Vince probably doesn't like him, but we all know Vince doesn't like a lot of people that he brings back because they can make him money, right? Triple H, head of creative, probably doesn't like him. And then you also have Dana White, who probably doesn't like him because he made him look stupid as fuck twice on UFC, giving him shots on TV. So now all these guys are in the same company.
Dana White made so much money on that I promise he doesn't give a fuck that Punk lost.
Well, here's my thing is CM Punk, the main 3 dudes that he complained about, right, was Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Vince while he was there.
Did he complain about Shawn?
Yes, of course he did. Come on, man. He's a Brett guy. He definitely complained about Shawn.
I know he complained
now you're going to go back there. Go back there, and guess who the 3 people in charge of WWE is?
Right.
NXT is Shawn. Triple H is Raw and SmackDown. Head of creative and fucking president is fucking Vince. Like, what? What? I understand that you don't have to worry about fighting. You don't have to worry about fighting Triple H anymore because he had to retire. So you don't have to worry about that part of it. Oh, I don't need to fight you. Well, now you don't have to fight him. Maybe that's why he's going back. Now I don't have to fight you.
The funniest fucking thing to me would be like if they were like, well, you've been out of wrestling for a while, and we saw some of your recent matches, so we think it'd be best if you start in NXT.
Yeah, help Jade out.
Yeah, go down there and help them kids out and get your ring rust. Get rid of that. Right. No, I think that it's entirely possible he goes. I don't think there's any scenario where he goes and everyone doesn't just shit on him for the double speak bullshit that is inherent in him going back to that company. He's not real big on Twitter X anyway, but any video clip that happens, AEW fans are going to take everything he's ever said from AEW or his past WWE run and use it against him in every clip. I mean, it's going to be fucking hilarious, honestly. It's going to be a shitstorm. If he goes back, then as soon as he gets booked for WrestleMania, no matter what night he's on and what spot he is on the card.
If it's a 2-night event, yes.
If it's a 2-night event, they will play the fuck out of that clip about the extravaganza. 100%.
If he goes to Saudi, they're going to bring up the tweet that he put to Miz. Yeah.
Suck a blood-covered Saudi oil dick or whatever the fuck it was. It was weird. Yeah, or just some of the comments that he had even before the outburst scrums. The earlier scrums that he did where he was still talking shit about the way that WWE was run and why he wouldn't want to work there anymore and all that shit. Like there was incidents of that too. So
yeah, he did a panel at like a convention with Jade where he was talking shit about WWE and why Mercedes and Trinity left or whatever. And it's like, do you think they've changed? They haven't changed. Well, they sure the fuck ain't changed in the 2 years since, or the 1.5 years since, or whatever the fuck it's been. So what the hell? Like everything he said is going to make him look so bad. He's like he's going to be reaching Hogan territory trying to get the fuck out of this with his lies.
That's the thing. And this is kind of what I've always picked up on about him and said about him is that I don't think he has the self-awareness to realize how that would come off because he thinks in his head that he was wronged by AEW. So it's okay if he acts hypocritically in order to spite them. It doesn't matter what else he does as long as it's against them because they fucked up in his mind. They fucked up first and like he was the one that was wronged. So anything he does is okay and justifiable. It's like a weird, like childish, unaware mentality of how he comes off and the hypocrisy and some of the shit that he says and does. And it's because he's very spite driven. He's a very spite driven person.
let's move on because we're already an hour into the show. We got a lot more we're gonna get into right here. Next up, we got the No Mercy review. This is where my other 5-star match comes in. So we had 3 from WrestleDream. I've got 1 from this one, and I think everybody knows which one it is. It is
Dragunov.
Ilya and Carmelo easily 5 stars. I can't remember what Dave gave Becky and Tiffany. I think he gave it 4.5. I gave it a 4. I think a lot of people are overrating that match.
Let's see. He gave it a 4.5, which is
I gave it a 4.
But he gave Carmelo and Dragunov 4 3/4.
5.
And if you look at the difference between those two matches, and here's the thing, I've defended the fuck out of Dave's system. A lot of people will bitch about like, oh, he goes over 5 stars and 5 is supposed to be the best. It's not what it is. Like, that's not how the system works. If you've ever seen like a logarithmic scale, it's pretty clear how his system is supposed to work in his head. Everybody thinks of it as like linear. So like a 4-star match must necessarily be like twice as good as a 2-star match. But that's not how logarithmic scales work.
And I think it's more because he never had 6 stars and over 5 stars until way later.
But that's not true. What do you think the first 6-star match was?
You tell me.
It was Steamboat versus Flair at a fucking like house show in like
I
the late.
I don't think so.
I'll bet you a fucking $1 million right now that his first 6-star match was a Ricky Steamboat versus Ric Flair match in, I want to say, the late 80s at a fucking house show. Bet me.
But he doesn't even rate house show matches, so why was he rating that match?
Because this was before television was so big that he started only rating.
But he doesn't even rate Raw and SmackDown matches, is my point. He only rates fucking big shows.
This was in the late 80s. It was different. But he absolutely has given a 6-star match way before people are aware that he ever did. And it was that match. So the idea that it was new or like he broke his system or whatever, it's not true.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
I'll look it up.
I mean, even if you were right, 1 6-star match doesn't mean anything when everything else was a 5-star match, though.
It does. And this is what I meant.
5 stars is my cap. I don't care. My system, 5 stars cap. There's never going to be me going over 5 stars. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, this is the thing about logarithmic scales, right? So they go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the differences between the 4, the 5, and the 6 are minimal, but they're there. It's not saying it's an equal increment better.
No, I get it. We've had this conversation before, actually, on the show, because you're saying, you've always said, like, you take a match from the 90s or whatever, and you say that was 5 stars, and you're telling me that this match from Kenny Omega versus Okada is 5 stars. You're telling me that if you watch both of these back, they're equal. That's why he gives it a bump up, because it's better than that match that he gave 5 stars back in the past. And I understand all that, but my system, 5 stars is 5 stars.
So let's see.
I just don't understand why everybody was overrating, including Dave, the Becky Tiffany match.
Ric Flair
don't understand.
versus Ricky Steamboat, WCW, March 18th, 1989, Landover, Maryland, house show, 6 stars.
There you have it, guys. I don't have it to put up on the screen for you, but you can take his word for it, obviously.
June 3rd, 1994, Misawa versus Kawada at the Superpower Series Night 16, 6 stars. So it's not like a new thing. Everybody says it's a new thing, just they don't know that he's been doing it for a while. So
I'd love to see the list of every match that's been over 5 stars and see how many actually been until recently when he started fucking just giving them out to Ospreay and fucking Omega on a consistent basis.
No, most of them had been in the 2010s. You're right. But there's a reason for that, and it's because wrestling had a pretty big shift toward what was considered the top of the top.
Yeah, I get that. Right. Take the Attitude Era out of it, because it was just shit matches on TV, right? Like, you had the constant run-ins in WCW and the fucking 3-minute matches in Attitude Era. I get that. But I'm pretty sure AJPW had like fucking 30-something fucking 5-star matches. So where's all the 6 stars or 5.5s or whatever and over in All Japan, if they were so good?
Well, there were a lot of 5s in AJPW. You're right. But again, if we're talking about whether or not he like changed his scale or whatever, there was a 6-star match in AJPW. It was the Kawada and Misawa match. So
But that's
that was
my problem.
94.
A match. If everything else that you're watching is shit from the two main promotions, doesn't that get skewed in some way when you're fucking watching All Japan and that's even fucking and that's so much better? Like, how are you not giving that more than 5 stars? Does that make sense to you? What I'm trying to say?
Yes, but it's assuming that he thinks that it's that significantly better, I guess.
Or do you think he's just comparing it to the Ric Flair Steamboat match and that's pretty much it because that was the only one that got over that? It was like, yeah, was that worth that? Was that worth a 6-star match, etc., or 5.5 or 5.25? And was he always doing? Since we're on the subject, was he always doing 0.25s quarter ratings? Or was that later on?
The first quarter rating over 5 came in the 2010s. So no, it seemed like he wasn't doing a lot of. He wasn't doing like quarter ratings and stuff as often back then. And if he did, it was always like half. It was never like quarters. But yeah, no, the quarter thing seems to have been a more recent development. But again, that speaks to the whole logarithmic scale thing. Like when you're talking about differences in quality, it's hard to quantify that when they're not equal distributions higher. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously something that only exists in his own head, but no, it doesn't bother me when he breaks 5. It makes sense to me. I feel like if the scale is like this and then has a really steep curve at the top, then to get to like a 6, the difference between a 6 and a 5 is like, it's different. It's you're not talking about just whether or not a match was good or bad. There's a lot more that goes into it. So
all right, so what would you give Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton then? He gave it a 4.5. I gave it a 4.
Like a fucking 3.75. It wasn't anything crazy to me. I thought it was a good match. But
do you understand why I thought Tiffany Stratton showed out?
Yeah, no.
Here's how I graded it. Becky Lynch was a 3. Tiffany Stratton was a 5. I gave it a 4.
No, I thought it was. I saw a lot of people talking about the match after the fact, and I couldn't tell if it was like everybody just really likes Becky Lynch a lot, so they're gassing it up a little bit, or if they were surprised to see Stratton do so well and like hold her own with Lynch, and that's why they were rating it higher, or if they just genuinely liked what was happening in the match or whatever. But like, I don't know. Here's the thing too, and I've said this before. I'm not like the biggest women's wrestling fan. I'm just not. Like there are some that I like to watch. There are matches from women's wrestling that I really do like, but overall, like if I had to pick, like if you said you can only watch either men's wrestling or women's wrestling ever again for the rest of your life, it would be men's wrestling every time. And I think it's a lot to do with the way that their character work happens, a lot to do with the storylines that they're given. So it's not necessarily their fault or anything, but a lot of it is down to, what they're physically capable of doing. Or the impact that they can make stuff look like it has and things like that. So I'm just not, maybe that's why I'm biased to score it a little bit lower too. So I'm not crazy about women's wrestling.
Now, do you think that's in part due to it being held back in certain ways as well?
Yeah. I think if the storyline development got up to the same place and the character development and character work got up to the same place, like there's never been an equivalent of a fucking Christian Cage heel in women's wrestling. The closest I can think of is probably like Athena's ROH run was good. That was a good heel run, but it was
Britt
mostly
Baker
just
heel
like
run.
Britt Baker's character work is pretty good, which is why I like watching her. But then if you look at, in-ring stuff, and I'm not saying the Britt's a bad wrestler or anything like that, but if you compare like the best Britt Baker match to like the worst Kenny Omega match, like, it's hard. It's hard to say that just character work alone would bring it up for me. That's all.
Now, when they are given the opportunity to go out there and try to tear the house down, I do believe that they give it a fair shot. Like Becky versus Trish, Becky versus Trish was way better than Becky versus Tiffany Stratton to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I could agree with that. Or the Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte match at it was WrestleMania, wasn't it?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, that I thought was like a
no,
really
that's awesome. That's my best. That's my favorite. That's my favorite women's pay-per-view match of the year, easily.
Yeah,
5 stars.
Same. I thought that was a fucking amazing match, and the thing about it is that it didn't suffer from a lot of the same stuff that women's wrestling normally suffers from, because these are like bigger, stronger women that can make shit look more impactful, that were going super hard. They were doing like a very strong style match. And it came off really well. And also their character work stands out. Like, you know what Rhea's character is. You know what Charlotte's character is.
And the characters against each other leading up to that made sense. And it was a long-term type deal, even though they had the break, obviously. But they went back to what had happened 2 years prior at WrestleMania and used it and tied it all in.
Right. So when
I think it also helped that Rhea had a really good performance at Royal Rumble when she won as well. I think that helped it also.
So when it's like that, and if all women's wrestling was that, then I wouldn't have the same feelings about it. But the truth is, it's just not. So, you know, I don't know if that's why I'm inclined to rate it lower. But yeah, I'd probably give it like 3 3/4.
Okay, so yeah, I actually have my very first, and I'm going to record a few of them, and I'll start playing them mid-show, or maybe I'll just make its own separate thing. But I'm going to do a Jack to the Drawing Board top 5 list, and my very first one is actually going to be my top 5 women's pay-per-view matches of 2023. But anyway, so yeah, that's my very first one. I've got all the stuff right now. I actually did all the teleprompter stuff and all that stuff, but I got to get the green screen back up and record all that shit. But that is actually going to be my first one. I'll probably play it on the show, and I'll probably have you really small in the corner with your reaction. I don't know if you can actually hear it, or if you'll be able to hear it or not. I would love to see your reaction to the list, though. Would be great. But anyway, I'll start doing those relatively soon. The reason I watched the No Mercy match, or the No Mercy show in general, the only reason I watched it is because of how much pub Ilya and Carmelo and Tiffany Stratton Becky was getting. And I was like, well, Becky and Tiffany Stratton, they really had that good of a match. I'm going to have to go back and edit my top 5 list. No, I don't have to edit my top 5 list. No, it's a 4. It was a 4.
Yeah. And again, a 4 is like a 3 3/4 is a good match. Nobody's saying it was a bad match. It didn't stand out.
People were
for
acting
me
like it was the best match of the year for women or some shit. I was like, no, it's not even close, dude. This short attention span, living in the moment type deal, man. Like, I understand that Charlotte versus Rhea at WrestleMania feels like fucking 3 years ago, but that was this year, dude. That's
6 months ago.
That was this year, bro. Mercedes versus Kyrie at Battle in the Valley, that was this year. Like, let's be fucking real here. That match does not touch either of those 2 matches. By the way, and I don't want to sound like everybody else on social media, but the Barbie doll spot, bro, it's so stupid, so dumb.
Yeah,
I didn't like it. It doesn't make any sense. The Legos actually hurt. Landing on those Barbies might have hurt a little bit, but it's not anywhere close to Tax Glass Legos. And even Legos is a comedy spot, not a fucking taking serious spot. So you're supposed to have a serious match against Tiffany Stratton to see who the best is, the young up and coming versus the veteran, and the veteran is pulling out Barbies. It would have made a lot more sense if one of them was going to do it. It would have been Tiffany Stratton, who was the cocky heel that said she was better than the best, and she did it on Barbies. That would have made a lot more sense to me. Yeah. But Becky doing it as like a comedy spot type deal, basically, it just didn't work. I hated it. Hated that spot.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that either. And like you said, I actually think if Tiffany had done that spot instead, it kind of would have made sense a little bit with her whole character and vibe and whatever, and had some sort of storytelling element to it as far as her view of herself over Becky, I guess, in some way. But no, I thought it was fucking weird. It felt very goofy, and to put that in Extreme Rules match, it kind of makes Extreme Rules matches look a little.
I will also say that I probably wasn't as invested in it because I really can't stand the NXT announce team.
Yeah.
God, they were so bad during that last match. So bad.
They're not. They're not like. It's not like watching a shitty indie show announcers, at least, but they do take me out of it a lot. Like they're not good. But we're also spoiled because we have Excalibur and Taz and they're like a super fucking good
And
together
Tony.
with Tony
I love Tony
Schiavone.
Schiavone too, yeah.
Yeah, like it, you get to a point where you watch that for so long, and then you go watch any other commentary, and it's like, what the fuck are they doing? What are they talking about? So
I guess that's true. All right. So there's our very short No Mercy review. I give it the overall show I give probably, I want to say B. If you have a 5-star and a 4-star match on there and you only have so many matches because it's not really that long of a pay-per-view or anything, and they have a shit ton of matches, I mean,
but you got to think about
I think a B
other
is pretty good.
matches. That Blair Davenport match.
Oh, that was pre-show though.
Are we not counting pre-show? We count.
I mean, I counted, but not. I mean, it's not going to be factored into like.
Okay.
A big
what about
deal.
you like the fucking Trick versus Dom shit?
No.
It was bad. It was
Well,
bad.
I mean, Trick won, so I was kind of happy, but then he lost it later, so it didn't matter. He lost it 3 days later. But but no, like
it wasn't
obviously
a
that was
match.
supposed to be. If it was Mustafa Ali, then yeah, it would have been awesome. But because he was supposed to win the title there
That's true.
instead of Trick.
What do you think about the?
The fans are really into Trick. I mean, I'm into him. It's just I didn't expect him to win. I thought it was kind of pointless for him to win. Like, okay, if somebody else is going to win it and you fired that person, just have Dominic win the fucking match.
Yeah, same. What about the Baron Corbin match?
Baron Corbin won, so that gets an extra star.
Yeah,
I love Baron Corbin.
I agree.
I'm actually surprised that they let him beat fucking Breaker. Honestly,
yeah.
but the worst part of that match was Braun Breaker's entrance gear.
Yeah, I thought that one was. Nobody was really talking about it or anything afterward, but I thought that was a good match. It was a solid
It's
match.
like what 3.25,
Yeah,
3.5, maybe even maxed out at 3.5. Yeah, I mean it wasn't.
It's in that range where when you finish it, you're not like, oh, I need to watch this again or anything, but you're like, oh, it's a
Yeah, nothing
good
egregious happened. We're like, oh, you fucked up right there. You know, it was just a solid match. Yeah, I was fine with it.
That was good.
And then what was the other one? The tag team match.
The Heritage Cup shit with Butch.
Oh yeah.
Butch. Goddamn, just making Pete Dunne again, please.
Pete Dunne, you mean, is what you meant to say. I'm actually more excited to see Gallus versus Tyler Bate and Butch on Tuesday.
Mm.
If they give him enough time, I think that match will be really good. Obviously,
they had the 4-way tag too.
Yeah, with the Creeds and. I
Garza
mean, it was
and
good. I mean, it was another solid. It was just a solid match to me.
I hate 4-way tag team matches.
I hate 4-way tag team matches that only have one person from one team and one person from another team in it. Have 4 people in it. It's a 4-way. Put 4 people in there. By the way, shout out to the Guns.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Guns. That's how you do it. Don't tell me that that's against the rules. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
We've been telling people to do that forever. Just fucking tag yourself and go pin them.
Xavier and Kofi did that once. Do you remember?
This is why you need to have the rule that we were just talking about. One person from each team.
Yep.
And make it to where you can only tag in your person, your tag team partner. This other shit that they do makes no sense. But yeah, go ahead.
But Kofi and Xavier did that spot once, but they did a little different. They circled each other like they were about to fucking tie up. And everybody was like, the crowd was going crazy because they were like in there against each other for the first time ever and all what. And then one of them just immediately fucking lays down. I forget who did it, but it was the same spot. But yeah, no, that's the second time I've ever seen it, and it's funny both times.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, I mean, the pay-per-view was solid. I gave it a B. If I had to do, like, I watched it again. I mean, it is a big drop off from the Ilya, Carmelo, and then the Stratton, Becky.
Yeah.
Maybe B minus then, if I had to say.
I'd probably give it like a C.
I just can't see myself giving something a C that had a 5 and a 4-star match. They don't have like fucking 5 matches on the bitch. It wasn't like it was a 14 match fucking show, you know?
The problem is the rest of it was like very average or worse. I didn't like the Mysterio match, or the Davenport match if we're counting pre-card. So like the way I'm looking at it is like there was a little bit of low shit, there was a chunk of average shit, and then there was 2 good shits. You still end up with average.
But the chunk of average shit and the good shit though was most of the pay-per-view time-wise. So like if the shitty stuff is only going to be like less than 5 minutes, then I'm okay with that as far as like a match. I mean, so there's 2 matches and they were the shittiest matches and they were both under 5 minutes. Then how can I really use that to knock it down a whole fucking grade?
Because we're scoring the pay-per-view as a whole and like as a card, right? So if you could have put one good 10-minute match in that spot for the two 5-minute shitty matches, then I would say that the card was better. But if I'm looking at it as a whole, like I don't think that the card to me was like a B. I'd probably go like C+ on it at most.
I'll go B-. I'll go B- for it. Let's talk about, speaking of pay-per-views, that was very average. Fastlane review time. Here we go.
Listen, there's nothing
so
wrong
there's no
with
5
Fastlane,
stars. I have absolutely no 5-star matches on this show. None.
but there was nothing wrong with it.
Wrong
Actually,
with
there
it
was
how?
one thing. There were no bad matches. Not like
You don't think it was
egregiously bad matches?
All right, let me ask you this. Okay. Match content wise.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We're not talking about booking wise.
No, booking wise, it fucking first of all,
Who has the last man standing match and
Last
doesn't
man
come and
standing
fucking
match.
cash in your Money in the Bank
Right.
briefcase?
The person is fucking beaten up for how long? How long was that match? It was at least like half an hour. No, I think I should say it was probably like at most.
It was
half an
over
hour.
20 for sure. Had to be.
It was definitely over 20. It might have been just under 30. But like, because I remember when the show ended, it ended at like 10:50, and I was like, wait, they still got 10 minutes or whatever the fuck, or 11:50 or whatever time. But I remember it was like 10 till the hour, and I was like, what the fuck? Maybe they're gonna have a cash in, and I didn't have a fucking cash in. It was the stupidest thing on earth to me. The thing is, you do that whole storyline earlier in the night where you're like, oh well, Damien's hurt. So the Judgment Day is convincing him not to go cash it in or whatever. He's not as hurt as fucking Seth Rollins is at the end of that match, first of all.
Yeah. Did Damian Priest, who didn't even go through the table, by the way, and who had 2.5 hours to recoup because it was the first match. Seth is in the last match on a last man standing match, and you didn't have enough time to go out there and do this.
And if you're going to tell the story that Rhea, as the leader, they're clearly making her the leader because she's the one that does all the handshakes with Heyman, and she's the one that
There's no leader in the Judgment Day, guy. You know this.
She's the leader. They're very clearly making her the leader. So, which I think is great. It's when the fuck has there ever been a
she's been the
stable
leader.
that's
Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
She's been the leader for a long time.
When has there ever been a stable that's been led by a woman that's actively wrestling and not just as like a fucking manager that tells two big dudes to go beat up people or whatever?
Well, you know the closest thing was, the closest
China?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, China's the closest thing.
But I still think that if we're talking about leader at that time,
No, I get what
it
you're
was
saying,
like-
but like that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
closest thing. Yes.
Yeah, it was definitely co-leadership between Triple H and Michaels. But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, and it does. It's kind of got that same vibe, except she's actually got a character aside from just standing there menacingly.
Correct. Yeah, and like China has the menacing and beating up dudes and getting involved in a way that actually helps them win.
Mm-hmm.
But China didn't have the promo, the skill in the ring or whatever at that time, of course, because she didn't become a wrestler till later. That Rhea Ripley has. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm looking up something real quick.
I think the most egregious thing from Fastlane was Michael Cole calling Cody a leader of the Bullet Club at one point.
She's 26. That's crazy. She's 26 and already like at the place that she is in her career and doing what she's doing. She's got short of her
Dude,
getting
no, there's no
something.
way. And I'm sitting here, I'm being very serious when I say this. Being 26, already winning the Royal Rumble, not main eventing, but being at WrestleMania twice in a big match against Charlotte
Should have
twice.
main evented.
Should have. I don't remember what my stance was. Oh no, in hindsight for sure, because it was a 5-star match. No joke. And they had the story. So yeah.
But yeah,
fucking leading a stable for as long as you have, dominating, like, dude, if I'm Tony Khan, dude,
right?
I'm finding out when her shit is, hey, you've done pretty much everything you can do over there. How about you bring your ass over here? And she'll still be relatively young. She ain't gonna be fucking 40 something like Edge.
And Buddy's over there too already, so it's like
Correct.
easy. Yeah.
Not only that, like, dude, if Buddy's contract comes up before Rhea's, I'm throwing the bag at Buddy to get his ass to stay so that I have a better shot at getting Rhea. And I love Buddy, but I have no problem using somebody as leverage as a businessman. Sorry.
Yeah.
I kept Baker and made her a big star so I could get Cole. Let's be real.
That's not true. Come on.
No, that is true. It just ended up being that Baker was a lot better investment than you probably thought going in. It ended up being a better investment. That's all that is.
I don't think he was thinking that far ahead. Because I don't think he even knew when Cole's contract was up at the time. I don't think so. So let me think.
There ain't no way you're not telling me that the Young Bucks said, "Hey man, get Britt Baker and maybe we can get our buddy over here." Come on. Come on, dude. That was never a conversation.
Think it was to get Cole over there. I think it was like, hey,
I agree. I agree that I'm not saying that they did it specifically to get Cole, but I'm saying that you can't tell me there's not a little bit of thinking going on in that head.
I don't think they might have known when his contract was up because I'm sure he would have told Matt and Nick. Who knows? So yeah, back to the complaint with the whole reason of bringing out Rhea or whatever. She's the leader. She grabs the briefcase. The briefcase, as far as I'm aware, in storyline, is like a bearer instrument in the sense that whoever has it is turning it in because it's a blank contract. It doesn't have the person's name on it, as far as I know. It's just a contract that you can turn in. I don't know if there's precedent.
You may be right, because if you think about it, how many matches have they had for the briefcase?
Right. So you can lose it in a match. So I'm pretty sure it's a bearer instrument in the sense that whoever has it owns it. It's like a money order. So like, yeah, I don't know why the story at that point, if they're going to tell this whole backstage narrative about how Damien's not going to be the one cash it in, they've already got this like friction between him and Finn. They just lost a match. He's hurt. They want to bring a belt into the fucking Judgment Day. That's such a perfect setup for more friction, is to have Finn Balor go out, take the belt off of Rollins after his grueling fucking last man standing match, and then you tell that story of the friction between Priest and Finn going forward.
Oh, that's way past friction. That's full on blow up.
Yeah.
That's full on blow up on Raw, dude. Finn Balor comes out there as the new champion, but the rest of the Judgment Day, Damian Priest is still hurt, quote unquote hurt, or they think he is, and then that motherfucker just rushes out there and starts beating the shit out of him, a la Matt Hardy to Edge backstage when he came back after Lita cheated on him or whatever. Just beat the shit out of him out of nowhere. No, that's full on blow up. There's no fucking friction. You just took my world championship away from me. Nah, fuck that.
I think there's a way to tell the story where they could slow burn it for at least like a week or two. You have them all come out together, and Rhea's talking and tries to sell it as like, you know, him stepping up for the group by going out and doing it when Priest couldn't because Priest was hurt, and like selling is like a collective good kind of thing, and you just kind of see Priest stewing about it, and then next week some shit happens and that's when he has his blow up or whatever. I think you could get another couple of weeks out of it, but
I mean, at this point I feel like the friction is going to be Damian Priest is clearly going to be on the side of, hey, it's either JD or me. I'm getting the fuck out of here if you pick JD type deal. I think that's where they're going with it because he fucked up so bad.
But I ignore that he exists because he looks weird and he doesn't add anything to the story. So whatever.
I don't know if you saw my tweet or not, but I said regarding Michael Cole's bullshit comment about Cody leading the Bullet Club during the show.
Oh God. Yeah.
I said, if anything, on a scale, Cody was a lot closer to JD McDonough trying to be in Judgment Day than he was a leader of the Bullet Club.
Yeah. That's a good comparison.
But anyway, it was funny too because Corey was like, "Oh, you're trying to get cool points on Twitter." Nobody that knows anything about the Bullet Club about to give you any cool points. You about to get fucking roasted on Twitter. It's what's about to fucking happen. That's what's about to happen, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. I guess during the arc where Kenny was obviously still the leader, but it was Cody trying to take over it, and he did have that split off faction. You could say that he was the leader of that faction, like the fractional issue that was happening within Bullet Club at the time.
But even that wouldn't that be like co-leader though still?
So it depends on how serious you view the split. Was it NWO?
It lasted like 2 weeks because remember it was Cody and all the Gaijin was going against Haku. He's like, remember the fucking famous shit? He's like, what the fuck is wrong with Haku? Or what the fuck was Haku doing on the BTE segment? It was fucking hilarious. Yeah. They all sit down afterwards and like, what the fuck? What's Haku's problem? That's just funny as shit. Yeah, so like even at that point, it was Omega 1A and then maybe Cody 1B, if anything, and that was still only half the Bullet Club. So I mean, he was never leader of anything.
Yeah. You know what?
That's
is
like
weird to
saying
me,
Jeff
though?
Jarrett was the leader of Bullet Club. No, it wasn't. He wasn't.
Uh,
No,
kind
no.
a little bit. I think you're just a Jeff Jarrett hater. That's the
Oh, I love Jeff Jarrett. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, then you acknowledge him. So
I
the
acknowledge
other thing
Rhea
about
Ripley only.
same. So the thing about the thing about JD McDonough too is that he's had a lot of like completely outside of wrestling. He's had a lot of fucking allegations against him with picture evidence of him being physically abusive to an ex and all this other shit. Like
He's one of the very few that actually survived all that
you
from
don't know
NXT
how.
UK.
I don't know how. Why are they putting him in any position of prominence with that kind of like shit in his background? Like with the there's no fucking way.
My thing is no one's really fucking blasting it all over the Twitter feeds like they did with Matt Riddle or like they did with Velveteen or like they did with Quincy Elliott. That I think that has something to do with it too.
The only person that I've ever seen bring it up is that Tori girl, Belgian Erica or whatever.
Yeah, Belgian
But
Erica.
yeah, I never see anybody else talk about his shit, and it's just like, I guess I just fucking forgot it happened. I don't know. Weird.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I've never been a really big fan of him. He just looks like fucking Finn Balor light. I don't know what, like a Funko Pop version of Finn Balor.
He's got a Roblox head.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of him. But anyway, really,
Yeah,
the only people I liked
from his look.
really the only people I liked from NXT UK are the ones that are down in NXT right now. Pretty much, I like Gallus. I like Pete Dunne. I like Walter. I like Tyler Bate. Those are that was pretty much it. I like Dave Mastiff too, but they released him when they got rid of the UK scene or whatever. I really like Dave Mastiff too, but those were like my favorite ones. And most of them are still there. Anyway, Fastlane review. What'd you think about the John Cena LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso match?
It wasn't bad. I expected them to win, so that wasn't really a surprise. You don't have John Cena come back and LA Knight as big as he is come in and have them lose unless there was some shit where they did like a miscommunication spot and then they're setting up a match between LA Knight and John Cena, which at that point you have to make
Are
one of them
we
the bad
assuming
guy.
that LA Knight is going to be the opponent to Roman Reigns at Saudi or no? Because I feel like it's definitely being set up to be Bloodline and Judgment Day versus, Cody, LA Knight,
Cody,
Jey Uso
arc. Yeah.
at Survivor Series.
Well,
maybe their mystery partner is CM Punk.
Yeah, because they've got 4, right? And then all the other ones together are 6.
It'll be 5 or 6 depending on who they want to put in the match.
Yeah. But if you put Dominic would probably be the odd one out if they were trying to book it strong, or they would take.
Or it
Priest
depends
or
on
Finn
if
out.
Priest was having issues with Finn or try to say he was injured or some bullshit like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Roman, Jimmy, maybe they're still kind of teasing around that a little bit.
They can actually use that going forward though. If Jimmy fucks up and loses it, he's like the last one or some shit like that.
I did like the spots in the match too, though, where he was trying to play to Solo and Solo
ignored him. Yeah.
So there was good storytelling in the match, is why I liked it too. But as far as in ring work or anything, it was a fucking John Cena LA Knight match, and I love LA Knight. Don't get me wrong, but his moveset isn't some fucking like crazy.
No, his moveset is like the Rock or Austin. No, his moveset is catered to Attitude Era audiences, which I believe is part of the reason why he's catching on, because he's one of the few that had that type deal going on right now.
Yeah,
he's technically different in the realm of WWE because he's going back to what they used to be good at. I mean, he's just using the stuff that worked. I can't blame him for that.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the end thing with the hand raising shit? John Cena goes to raise his hand and LA Knight's like, nah, and then raises John Cena's hand.
I mean, I don't think it's anything I don't think there's anything to come of it because I don't think they can plan ahead with John Cena not knowing when the actor strike's going to end, and he's literally going to go leave WWE and go right back to it as soon as it ends.
No, I'm not talking about storyline. I'm talking about like it almost seemed to me like
like the Hogan thing, like he's trying to steal the spotlight.
It seemed like LA. Okay,
the answer was yes, and you didn't want to say yes, right? Like Hogan Warrior type deal.
Like John Cena's going to raise LA Knight's hand and be like, "Oh yeah, everybody cheer for this guy that you were already fucking cheering for," to make himself look better, and like it was almost
giving himself the LA Knight rub instead of LA Knight getting the Cena rub. Yes.
Yeah, and LA Knight kind of, it seemed to me, because when it got asked about it in the scrum, it was very obvious that it was not like a planned thing. And if that's me in LA Knight's spot and John Cena is going to go raise my hand or whatever, I don't want the like, oh, here's because there is sort of like a little bro kind of thing that comes with it, where they view you differently. It's like you're the guy under this guy, but this guy approves of you, and there's like an inherent bias toward whether or not you're like a star when that happens or whatever the fuck. Like if John Cena goes out and raises Mustafa Ali's hand after a match, you're not like, oh, they're on the same level or whatever. But if Mustafa Ali,
the problem with this is because LA Knight is in his 40s. It's not Undertaker shaking John Cena's hand after he did the thing with Kurt Angle or whatever. Yeah. It's not the same because there's not a huge age gap in between them. It's not. I mean, like you can't. I mean, I don't know if it was planned beforehand. You said you don't think it was, but
well, they said at the scrum it wasn't. It was
okay,
like
but it looks bad if it wasn't. It does look bad because when they're in the match during the introductions or whatever, and after the introductions are over, he turns around and they're facing the fucking audience on the opposite side of the hard cam that we all see, and they're all chanting LA Knight. They're not chanting Cena. They're all chanting LA Knight. So, I mean, it could be a situation like DX trying to get the spotlight from CM Punk at Survivor Series when they had the team. They had the CM Punk and the Hardys, and DX was the team. And they had them all out there, and I think they were in Philly or something, ROH country, and they were all chanting fucking CM Punk instead of DX. And then they kind of tried to, get the rub off of that or whatever. Like, so I don't know. You might be right. You might be onto something there, but I don't think it's going to be really anything going forward. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to turn into a Hogan Macho Man situation or anything.
Oh, I don't think it is either. It's just interesting to me. It seemed to me like,
and Cena already got the Pat McAfee rub before he got out there. So you already got one rub, dude. You don't need LA Knight's rub too. God damn, you're fucking John Cena. You're supposed to be the greatest of all time.
I think it was just the LA Knight picking up on it and being like, no, he's trying to little bro me. If I raise his hand, then I look respectful, but not like I need his fucking rub or whatever. That's what it came off like.
Yeah,
to
I
me
mean, I can see where that would be a thing, but I don't think it's as egregious as Hogan Bret Hart WrestleMania 9 Yokozuna. Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
I just thought it was interesting. It was like an interesting little power dynamic thing to watch play out in real time, because LA Knight like refuses to give him his hand. He's like, no, you give me your hand. And they talk about it for like 3 or 4 seconds. It's a little bit awkward. And then they do that. So it was I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting little interpersonal dynamic at play there.
Yeah. That's whatever. I do think it's weird that Cena was the legend and came back and he was the workhorse in the match because LA Knight had to get the hot tag.
Yeah.
That was crazy. All right, so overall, grade, are we giving it higher than No Mercy? Because they were all solid from top to bottom, and even though there was no 5s? Are you giving it higher than your C+ or whatever the hell you gave the other one?
Yeah, I did give it a C+. Oh, what'd you think about the Carlito's new music?
Hate it. Hate it. Just have them have... if you don't want the people spitting in people's face like little kids or something like that, if that's what you're worried about, just take the fucking intro language out and give him his fucking music.
Yeah, it could just be.
But they said it's something. It's either like it's like a CFO or Jim Johnston issue, not a. I don't know why you couldn't just do a remix version of it though. You could just do a remix version of it. I don't really understand.
And it wasn't an issue when he was just in Puerto Rico.
Correct, because that's what they played. They played his song in Puerto Rico. I don't understand it either.
But yeah, no, I was not a fan of that change. Maybe it'll grow on me, but him being around for so long, then being gone for so long, when he comes back and you change his song within like 1 day of him being back, like there's a long time of that music being associated with him, and it was a little bit jarring. I thought it was weird.
Somebody that only had one theme song his entire WWE career, yeah, that's weird. Also, I think I would have been a little bit more cool with it if he would have came out to his OG theme then, and then maybe on Raw or SmackDown, then you debut the new theme.
Yeah.
But no, I still don't like the theme overall. No, I think it's weird.
There was a little bit of confusion when it started because they were like, well,
that's why that's why they literally threw Carlito's name on the fucking screen so everybody would know who it was, because they knew that same thing was going to happen, because that's terrible.
Yeah.
I love Sean Ross's tweet about it too, because he said that's why he was so late, because he didn't have any new theme music, so he was waiting for them to get done with the theme music, and that's what they came up with, that shit theme, and that's why he was like 10 minutes late into the match or whatever.
Makes sense. Yeah, that too. The booking on that was also weird. Like, why not just have him come out from the start? For the pop? That's fucking stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
You would have got the pop anyway. And I don't know if I saw this correctly. I feel like I did, because I said it to myself out loud. Didn't Selena have a motherfucking mic in her hand when she came out?
Yeah.
She didn't say anything. What was she not supposed to just announce him there? Like, who changed that? I don't understand why he didn't come out initially either. It doesn't make any sense. He could have stood on the apron and stood there the entire time and not done anything and still got the hot tag the exact same way. It would have made no sense. It made no sense for him to come out late. Who the fuck? Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. I'm going to go out there and be like, hey, man, we're just going to fucking just say, fuck it. We're going to start this match, and if Carlito comes, he fucking comes. If he doesn't, we're fucked. That's the only person you guys called.
Or he is backstage the whole time, and they're just like, nah, man, you relax. You just come out when we need you. It'll be all right. We'll handle it.
Yeah, it's dumb. I don't like that.
What fucking tactical, like, this makes no sense at all.
Unless there was an WWE exclusive after the fact, and they do like a video and be like, hey man, what took you so long to get here type deal, something like that. And then he said something like, oh, I had traffic or something. Like something has to be said, because that doesn't make any sense, dude. None.
The storytelling on that was just very
because that would be like, okay, so like say I'm in that position. I'm about to have to go fight somebody, and I got one person and they got two people, and I called somebody and they're not there yet. I'm just going to grab someone else at that point.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
You're telling me Rey Mysterio don't have nobody else he can talk to back there?
I'm sure Kevin Owens was probably there. Just ask him.
I know Edge went to AEW, but you didn't have nobody else that you could have teamed with. Nobody. Yeah. But like, hey, Batista, I know you got a fucking private jet. Come on in.
Dragon Lee.
Yeah, I know. That's a lot of people were saying Dragon Lee, and like Dragon Lee and Carlito were the main two that were being thrown around or whatever. Yeah, Dragon Lee. Like I don't know, man. I don't get it. Maybe he didn't want another small guy. Maybe he didn't want Dragon Lee because Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus fucking Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford. Maybe not the best option, but I agree. If somebody's going to be late, then I'll just take the small dude just so I can have three people.
Yeah.
Give a fuck. All right, so anything else you want to talk about on that show?
I don't think so. I think I've had enough.
I don't think so, guy.
We talked about the scrum already, so I mean, I think I'm good. That's pretty much the only other thing that happened relevant to it.
All right, so we talked about the triple threat.
Oh, Falcon Arrow finally won a match. Who's that?
Who?
The Falcon Arrow.
Oh, yeah.
Finally won a match with it.
Wow. Come on, man. We're counting that as a win with a Falcon Arrow, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
If he was doubted for 10 seconds, he would have been pinned for 3.
It would have also been a DQ.
No, you're allowed. If the table's already there, you're allowed to hit people into it.
Oh, don't start that shit. Don't start that shit again on the show. Don't start that shit.
Okay, if that's the case, then why didn't
it wasn't the announce table?
Why didn't Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso get disqualified when Damian Priest went through the table?
Because he didn't go through the table. The table never buckled, Brody. And it was the announce table too, by the way.
That's what I'm saying. If something is already set up there, then it doesn't count as a disqualification to use it. No, so you think if the table did break,
there's no way he would have made it back to the ring in 10 seconds anyway.
Disqualified?
You would have got counted out. You only get 10 seconds. You don't get 20.
You think he can't run all the way out there in 10 seconds?
No. After a 30-minute match, you got to run out there, do the move, and then run back. No.
Yeah.
No.
I can do it. I'm built different.
Yeah,
okay. So if he did a Falcon Arrow from the turnbuckle to the ring announce table, what's the difference?
The announce table has never been something that people get DQ'd for.
Because Because
Because it's the announce table.
because it's
Because
already
it's the
set up
announce
there.
table.
It's already set up there.
Yeah,
You're
but
not- it's not a
those
foreign
tables are not
object.
always set up in the same spots. Therefore, it's not the same thing.
But they're not the ones who set it up there. It was already there at the start of the match.
It doesn't matter, bro.
It's the same
It
reason you
doesn't
use
matter.
the barricade, and it's not a weapon.
Oh my god! Don't start me fucking talking to me about barricades, dude. That shit's
Yeah.
stupid as fuck. You're telling me, oh, that's another fucking. I don't want to go back in time over here, but the Tiffany Stratton through the barricade bullshit by doing Dana Brooks' handspring back elbow thing. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Come the fuck on, man.
Disrespecting a former NXT UK Women's Champion with your nonsense. Yeah. Barricade, stairs get used a
Who
lot.
the hell is a former NXT UK Women's Champion? Who are you talking about?
Dana Brooke.
UK?
Or not
I mean, 24/7?
24/7. Yeah. You're right. But she did it in NXT UK.
Okay. Anyway, so what do you give the Fastlane review? I mean, not our review. Don't grade our
4.
review. Grade the show.
My review was perfect. I did nothing wrong.
The review was great. You guys don't. You could just watch this. You don't have to watch it. If you didn't watch Fastlane, you don't have to now. If you watch the review, you missed nothing.
Well, you missed the Falcon Arrow winning a match, and you missed. You should watch the scrum at least to watch Cody and Jade drunk.
No, you can watch that on YouTube. That's not part of the show.
Trying to fucking make sense. But yeah, as far as matches go, I don't think you would miss anything by not watching it. It wasn't great in ring wise. It was pretty average all the way across. I'd probably give it like another C plus.
Kudos for Pat McAfee, by the way, for thinking that, making those Indiana fans think they're going to get a fucking WrestleMania. Never.
They've had one before.
They'll never get another one. Indianapolis will not get a WrestleMania.
He
did literally did the John Cena UK promo.
Oh yeah, that was weird, right? Because John Cena's literally already told London that they were getting it,
and
right?
then he announced John Cena, who did that promo. Out. It was literally a cookie cutter John Cena UK promo at Money in the Bank.
That is weird. Well, he said a WrestleMania. He didn't say the next WrestleMania, so
I don't think either one of them said the next one, but still,
WrestleMania 52. Who knows? I think
it won't be at it won't be UK because it won't be at Wembley, baby. We got that shit on lock.
I think Triple H said at the scrum something about like they got asked. He got asked something about the announcement that maybe not get a WrestleMania there or whatever. He's like, yeah, we're always looking at places to go. We got a lot of places in mind.
I don't understand why they don't understand he's going to give quality management answers. He's not going to answer anything specifically ever.
Unless
I don't even know why he sits out there. Tony Khan fields more questions and answers more questions. I mean, yes, he still dances around a lot of it, but he answers a lot more questions.
He can't answer, but he gives straight answers on a lot of stuff too. People will make fun of him a lot.
The women's wrestling question, he did not give a straight answer. That was a bullshit answer.
There is some stuff that the thing with him is that I don't know what it is in his brain, but he will always try to find a way back to promoting the show. Which is weird.
It's smart.
It is smart.
By the way, a lot of people talk about the attendance, especially like on Collision this past yesterday. They talk about the attendance in all these places. You know, why don't they go back to what they were doing before for the first 3 years of Dynamite and tell you where you're going at the fucking bottom of the screen, your next 8 fucking towns, please? Why don't you put that up on the screen so everybody knows where you're going? That'll help. I don't understand why they stopped doing that.
Yeah, because I don't know when they're running in or around here because they'd never really say it on TV until they're already saying like, oh yeah, next week we'll be in, which happens sometimes. But yeah, there's no they're never putting out like a schedule. I mean, I could always go look it up, but I'm never inclined to because stuff doesn't run around here often enough for me to think that they're going to run around here. And when they came here last time, I had no idea that they were in the area. I think they ran in Greensboro. And I didn't know they were coming here until basically they'd already announced that that's where they would be in 4 days or whatever. And I don't have time to plan around that. But if I had known 2 months in advance, maybe I would have gone and done. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Is weird.
All right, let's move over. I'm gonna give it a C. Because like you said, it was solid. That's middle grade of the road right there. C. I give it a C. I also don't like that Nakamura lost, but I don't really. I'm not like one of those people that are like going into it. They're like, oh, Nakamura better win. I need Seth Rollins to drop it. Like, I'm okay with Seth keeping the title. Let's be real here. My issue is now Nakamura's lost twice in a row to Seth. Now what does he do? Go back to fighting fucking Bronson Reed and Ciampa every fucking week? You can't do anything with him now. There's nothing to do. That's my only issue with Nakamura. Because not only did you lose twice, but the second one was a gimmick match. So it's done. You're done.
Against somebody who was injured, who you took a fucking chair to
he
their
played,
back.
He played the Rollins role against Cody against Rollins.
Yeah, it sucks. And then for Triple H to say afterward, "Oh yeah, this is a Shinsuke I've wanted to see," and blah blah blah. Like,
yeah, clearly not.
If you wanted to see him, give him some fucking booking that lets you keep seeing him. Rollins doesn't have to be a fucking eternal champion here. He can lose the belt and win it back 2 months from now, and nobody's gonna bat a goddamn eye at it. But it seems like every championship now, they're like, everybody has to have long reigns with everything, except for some reason, the NXT North American one. But yeah, it's just very weird to me.
Yeah, it's weird to me too, because that was a company that definitely had no problem changing the world titles 6 times a year.
And it doesn't make Seth look bad to get the shit beaten out of him with a chair nonstop for like 30 seconds and then not be able to answer it when you know that the story of the match is that he's got a bad back. Like, he can get up from that spot, but then maybe he takes like a huge back bump or whatever, and then he just literally can't get up. There's a ways to tell this. There was a time when he got pushed off the ladder, that could have been the end of the match. And it would have made perfect sense with everything that they'd told going up to it, as far as his back being fucked up and whatever. Shinsuke can win. Seth can take a couple months off TV, whatever, and then come back and fucking win it. And none of them look any worse for it.
My main issue with the lack of title changes at this point, you could say, is that it hurts the rest of your roster. So we've always had this thing with WWE where it's Roman, it was Lesnar, and then it was nobody else because no one could touch these fucking guys. Who's going to beat them? No one can beat them. It's fucking, you're making the rest of your roster look silly when Roman's beating Kevin Owens 4 times in the same reign. How am I ever supposed to take Kevin Owens seriously when he gets another reign? That's Rollins. Yeah, exactly. Like, so you're killing the rest of your roster. And now it's like, the reason that a lot of people like the Attitude Era is because you had so many people that could win the championship at any given time. That's why when you watch an Attitude Era pay-per-view, it's like, holy fuck, this person could actually win. You had Austin, you had Rock, you had Undertaker, you had Kane, you had Mankind, you had Kurt Angle, you had Jericho. Anybody could potentially win. Like, you had like literally a roster of like 10 main eventers that could at any point win the world title. Triple H, throw it in there too. Anybody. It was insane. And now you don't have that. Now you've got like 3 people, and then the rest is like, you'll act like we'll give you a couple of fucking mid-card wins in a row, throw you in there, then you lose a couple times in a row, and then we'll throw you back down.
You know what it feels like is there was a period in time where so many people were complaining about 50-50 booking, and what it seems like is that they overcorrected for it. Like, they basically said, okay, well, now we're gonna have feuds where one guy wins 4 fucking times, the other guy never gets a win in the entire feud. He might stand tall on Raw one night, but he's never gonna win a fucking match. And 50-50 booking would be better. The problem with 50-50 booking was that they weren't telling the storylines behind it to make them seem like it made sense, or make it seem like that made them more competitive, so they wanted to fight each other even more, or whatever. It was always just like, oh, that guy has to get his win back so he doesn't look bad. And the storylines never made sense for it. Like, when they would do shit like, there's a pay-per-view match, the guy loses, and then the next night they have the same match, or a tag variant of the same match, and then the other guy gets his win back. That was the complaint with 50-50 booking. It wasn't that that reigns weren't long enough or anything like that. So they just way fucking overcorrected for that problem. And now it's gotten to the point where, aside from the Trick Williams stomping Mysterio thing, like, nobody's really flipping shit back and forth like they used to.
Yeah. All right. Let's move in to we're in the 2-hour mark now. All our reviews are done, so the rest of the show should fly by a little bit faster for you guys. Now let's move over to something that was part of the pre-show on Fastlane, and that is our girl Jade Cargill arrived in what can only be described as a 1970s spacesuit that was built that like it was supposed to be in the future in 2001 or some shit like that, and it never happened.
I fucking love the idea that she just goes around in her daily life in her ring gear. So when she shows up backstage to an event that she's not wrestling at, she's in her fucking ring gear. That's crazy.
I mean, I don't even know if you can wrestle in what she had on, at least not the top part. But yeah, like she just if I looked like that, dude, I'd be rocking that. Yeah. I'd be wearing that. I don't give a fuck, dude. People will know you're a big deal if you just walk around like that. Like, they'll know. But anyway, speaking of kind of a big deal, they are treating Jade Cargill like a big deal. So I don't want to hear about this bullshit about, you know, AEW didn't do what they could to keep her. I saw the stupid ass Bully Ray tweet. I mean, I can get in that if we want, but
the iceberg thing.
Yes,
God, what a fucking idiot.
Anyway,
they didn't see anything in her. That's why they had her go on like the longest fucking streak in company history, and then gave her a belt immediately. Tried their hardest to retain her. Like, what are you talking
created
about?
a belt for her, really. If we're
literally,
that's what it felt like. So she goes on. She goes 60-0. Like, this is what I replied to with Bully Ray, who probably won't answer him because he's clearly wrong. 60-0, right? Her first loss was after she already had a match against Taya Valkyrie, which means she's still protected even in the loss.
Yeah.
To some degree. She has all the time off she wants in the world. Then Tony Khan tries to keep her twice, not once, twice, said it in the scrum. Offered her more money when she went to WWE and got more money, came back, Tony Khan offered her more money. Still wasn't enough. They send her off in a respectable way anyway, even though Tony knew she was leaving.
Yep.
How can you sit there and say that WWE saw more in her, she's done nothing for WWE yet, so we don't know what the fuck they're gonna do or what they see in her. She could get a fucking cake in her face a la Tony Storm in a fucking year and be right back in AEW. Like, let's be real here. More than what AEW saw in her, which is clearly a lot because they pumped a bunch of money into her. So that tweet was so fucking dumb. And if I didn't already have a mark that remark, that would have been it. But she signs with WWE and starts training at Performance Center officially. And then, of course, she showed up at Fastlane on the pre-show. How do you feel WWE has handled her coming into the company? And do you think there's any ulterior motives in the way that they're doing it? Because I don't think it's going to work the way they think it's going to work. So like, I feel like they're trying to rub it in AEW's face, but it's really the ultimate compliment to AEW for you to take someone that was 60-0 in their company and then still treat them like they were 60-0 in your company.
So Triple H's answer at the scrum about this was annoying as fuck to me. Because he was like, he said something along the lines of, oh, you know, she went and did the AEW thing and now she's here because she sees like what a big jump it is like in her career and like all this other shit. Like, bro, you are acting like okay, I don't know if people know this or not, but they rejected her at a fucking WWE tryout. She was there. If they saw this in her, then they would have seen it back then when she was already trying out at the fucking Performance Center when they rejected her basically and that's where AEW ended up picking her up from. So this idea that they saw more in her is already fucking dumb. But
yeah,
then
this screams. Doesn't this scream the MJF William Regal thing?
Yeah, you didn't fucking pick her up when you had a chance, and AEW came in and offered her a shit ton of money to come in. And
I believe they also insulted her at some point during that when they said if you're not in it for the long haul because you have a kid. Yeah, and that was one of the reasons that she said, "No, fuck that."
Yeah, what they saw in her was, oh, she might be a liability, or she might like have to take time off. We can't have that with any of our NXT people. We want to underpay. So she goes to AEW, shows everybody how good she can be or is or whatever, and what star potential she has or what a star she is. Then you guys want to come on after the fact and be like, oh, this other company presented her so well that we want her, but then you're acting like you guys are the step up. You're out of your fucking mind. You didn't do anything at all in this except for make a bigger cash offer. That's the only thing you did. You didn't have some special insight. You weren't the one that she picked because you are able to elevate her or do more with her in some special fucking way. There's a reason she was going back and forth between you for money. She was playing you off of each other. Tony Khan raised twice, and WWE decided, okay, well, we'll raise a third time. She didn't go to you because you were like a fucking graduate class of wrestling. You're not. You're just fucking not. You're on the same playing field at this point. And if Wembley didn't tell you that, then I don't know what to tell you. And the idea that she went to them for any other reason other than they were the ones offering the most money based on the conversations that Tony Khan was talking about, they're out of their fucking mind. So he's trying to use it as an opportunity to present where she's coming from as like a lower thing. But it's kind of like when CM Punk bitches about, oh, well, the Young Bucks, they couldn't manage a target or whatever. Motherfucker, what they managed was good enough for you to want to fucking go there. That's where you were looking, so clearly they're not that fucking bad at it. And same thing.
Not only that, is that the Young Bucks, and to your point, the Young Bucks managed their brand in such a way that no one else on the Indies was doing, that they were able to create a whole different promotion. Let's be real here. That's legit. Obviously, they needed Tony Khan's money, right? Like, no, that's not a fucking shock to anyone. But Tony Khan did it with Cody, the Young Bucks, and Kenny, because Kenny and the Young Bucks and Cody, what they were doing over there in Japan, and more specifically the Young Bucks, because they're the ones that got the fucking New Japan Bullet Club shirts over in fucking Japan, or over in Hot Topics and shit like that, which no one had ever seen before. It was always either WWE or nothing for 20 fucking years. And they got big enough to be at a big ass retail chain to the point where everybody was like, oh, what's this? And got more people on it, that like lapsed fans, obviously, and stuff like that, and created their whole brand with the BTE and stuff like that, that they were able to do that. So don't tell me about managing anything. They're like the ultimate managers of themselves. Okay, You can't do a better job. If anything, if Jade Cargill wanted to learn how to build her brand, she should have been talking to the Young Bucks.
I'm sure she
honestly.
Was.
But anyway, the Young Bucks, but this is clearly a move from Jade. Yes, WWE is a bigger platform worldwide. I'm not going to deny that. So yes, she could have a bigger platform to build her brand that she is all about, and she should be. But if Tony Khan would have came back and raised it a third time with all the stuff that she said about Tony Khan and how much she loved the AEW and training with Bryan Danielson and stuff like that, I'm not so sure she wouldn't have just went back to AEW.
Yeah. And the thing about WWE is that they don't sell wrestler brands. They sell the company brand, if that makes sense. Like when they're all their merchandise.
I got the perfect analogy for you. It makes perfect sense to me. It's kind of like NFL versus NBA. NFL, you're selling the shield. You're selling the teams. NBA, you're selling the individual players and athletes on the teams.
Yep.
I don't have Patrick Mahomes shoes on right now. I don't have Travis Kelce shoes on right now. I've got Vince Carter shoes on right now. There's a reason why they're so good at propelling individual stars to bring people in, and NFL is all about the shield and the different teams and stuff like that.
Well, part of it too is because their faces aren't covered.
Well, they literally have a rule in the NFL where you cannot take your helmet off while you're on the field, even after the play is over. It'll be fucking fourth down. You're off the field. If you take it off, it's a flag. They have a rule. They don't want you to fucking get yourself over.
That might be a safety thing more than anything.
It's not a safety thing. Everybody knows it's a bullshit rule. It's not a safety thing.
I don't know. I've seen people not know that plays were over and get hit. So
it's not a safety thing.
But as far as personal branding, I do think that AEW does that better for individuals, or has the potential to anyway. But yeah, WWE is a merchandising company. Like the amount of shit that they merchandise. The WWE fucking games and toys and micro toys and fuck keychains and shirts, and like they're all over the goddamn place.
Not everywhere. Only that, they do a lot of multiple people on one product type
games, deal.
They do a lot of people on one product type deal, so you can't really get any of the money from it. Whereas AEW is like, this is your shirt, this is your hat, this is your towel, this is your whatever. Like, and then they'll fucking AEW will do. They don't give a fuck. Apparently, whatever deal they have with pro wrestling tees, if you get it over even once, it's getting printed. You're getting some money from it. Like WWE doesn't do that. Some of
the shit that gets printed is.
I agree. But I can also say that WWE has time and their shit still looks bad too. They have time to make up their shirts. These guys are doing it on the fucking fly.
There are very few good wrestling shirts. I will say that much. And the ones that are good are the ones that you can't tell are wrestling shirts. They look like the Death Triangle shirt that I got. It doesn't look like a wrestling shirt. You would never know it's a wrestling shirt. Yeah. Anything that's got like some fucking phrase on it that somebody said, like fuck all that. All that shit's goofy to me. I don't like any of that. But
Not a fan of my zombie hot shirt, my Daphne zombie hot shirt.
What's it say on it?
It literally just says zombie hot and it has a picture of Daphne. That's all it is.
Well, yeah, so that's different too, because that's
This is what Taz got over in Impact. He used to call her zombie hot all the time.
Well, you got that AJ Styles Impact shirt too, the one that looks like cum. The AJ Styles cum shirt.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, great shirt. It's a great shirt.
The gay community. The merchandising stuff. I mean, if she really did go there to like build her brand as an individual, I don't know that WWE is the place for that. Unless she manages to get like a weird, like hyper fixated cult following, like
Mercedes
has.
Yeah.
But
Which she
other
could.
than that, like not really.
I think she has a following already in AEW. I think there are people that would follow and watch what. I mean, I'm interested in seeing what she does. I'm more interested in seeing what Jade does in WWE than I am CM Punk.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in CM Punk's first promo so I can shit all over it on the show. But after that, I'm not interested in anything that CM Punk can or will do match-wise or storyline-wise in WWE. Jade Cargill, though, I'm very interested in seeing what she does.
He should come back as a heel and just be like, you know what? I thought I knew what I was talking about, and I thought
He should come back as he should come back as
just a big sports entertainment mark.
No, not even that. Just be the new take Adam Pearce's job, and now you're the authority.
Oh God. Nobody would fucking listen to him.
You're the new authority, bro. Remember the authority.
Fight, nobody. What are you gonna do?
You're Don Callis from ECW, the network.
Yeah.
But do you like the way that they're presenting her though?
No, because this is what I was gonna get at. Triple H at the scrum, they would one of the people asked like, oh, obviously at the beginning of the show we saw Jade Cargill, like whatever. That's when he was saying all this goofy shit, trying to act like AEW was like some fucking Bush League or whatever. But then afterward, he's like, he's basically saying they don't know what the fuck they're doing with her yet. They don't know if she's going to start in NXT. They don't know if she's going to start main roster. They have no fucking idea.
But she's already creating her own fucking feuds online with all these people, and people replying to her like Bailey and stuff. And she might not even go to the main roster right out the gate.
Yeah, he was literally saying like, yeah. One of the things that
now,
he said,
you don't think any of that was tongue in cheek, so people just don't know, so that when she debuts, it'll be a surprise type deal?
Because one of the things he said, he was talking about programs that she could work in, or people that she could work with, or whatever. And he specifically mentioned like Shawn Michaels and Matt Bloom. So like the implication there is that if she's not ready for the main roster, that they're gonna just put her on fucking NXT. They're not gonna have her train in the Performance Center for 8 fucking months of her contract without being able to make money off of it. They'll at least put her on TV on NXT. I'd
be a lot less pissed if I'm Tiffany Stratton sitting there if she just went straight to the main roster. Because if she came into NXT and I know she's already fucking renegotiated her contract at least twice to make way more money than whatever the fuck I'm making, that would piss me off if she's in the same spot. If she just goes to the main roster, I'd be a lot less pissed if I was somebody in NXT.
Here's the thing though, from a WWE point of view, if your goal is to paint the other competition as a Bush League developmental, lower class, not as good as us brand, then it absolutely would make sense from a spite competitive point of view to say, yeah, you were 60-0 over there, you got to start in our developmental.
No, I agree with that, because they couldn't do that with Cody because Cody was already on the main roster before he left to go to Japan. So this is the first time someone that wasn't a WWE person has come over to WWE from AEW. So yeah, like if they did that, that'd be crazy. It'd be kind of like the same thing as Eli Drake was over in Impact and was over in NWA Massive. Comes over, he has to go to NXT.
Yep.
So if they take that same approach and make it to seem like AEW is just Impact or AEW is just NWA, yeah, that's going to be a big fucking lowbrow shot at AEW, which is unnecessary in my opinion.
Yeah, they could do it though.
All right, let's move on to some other people that are moving around. And I got another question for you here. Let's talk about Kairi Sane and Mariah May finishing up in Japan. Both seem to be headed to different paths, though. The rumors are that Mariah May is possibly going to be at AEW, and that Kairi is obviously going back to WWE, who's never really left WWE, apparently. Always had like a kind of like a Legends deal type deal, I guess you could say, ambassador thing or whatever the hell it was. Mm-hmm. Do you like the fact that we've gotten to a point in wrestling, and we kind of talked about this earlier about you not liking women's wrestling over, like if you had to pick one overall. Do you like the fact that we've gotten to a point in wrestling where like people are actually paying attention to women's contracts like they do the men?
Yeah, I mean that's a sign that it's engaging fans enough to care about where they see them. When do you think that started? Because it seems
Mercedes and Trinity.
Yeah, Mercedes. Yeah, it's got to be right. Because I can't think of
that very first time that Mercedes and Bayley apparently like walked the fuck out after they lost the tag titles to the Iconics.
Yeah,
I feel like that was like, oh shit. Well, what are they gonna do with the contract situation? Like, are they gonna come back? Or they have to wait 90 days type deal? Like, are they gonna get fired? You know, stuff like that. So yeah, Mercedes, Bayley, Mercedes, Trinity, depending on.
I mean, obviously, when Ruby Riott came in, it wasn't. It's not like Ruby Soho.
Well, she got released though.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like when I'm trying to think of all the other people, and it's like Toni Storm, Ruby, and some other people.
Toni was a little bit different because she asked for her release. Ruby didn't ask for her release.
It wasn't like free agents whose contracts expired and everybody was like wondering where they were going to go. It was people that WWE had already basically lost or gotten rid of. So yeah, I think. Well, that's the thing with Mercedes too, I guess, because she's kind of in the same boat as Toni Storm then, right? Because they both voluntarily.
I don't know. I don't know if she asked for a release. She just said, "Fuck it, I'm out."
Well, same thing.
And sat out the contract.
You're
that's not the same.
Leaving. If you're voluntarily leaving, it's ultimately the same, right? So
I don't think so. I don't think it's the same.
But I do think that they were the first ones considered like free agents that everybody treated like acquiring their contract was going to be a big get. Whereas with Toni Storm or whoever, it was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to see her there. That's different. You weren't thinking about it like, oh,
I think Toni was a little bit higher than that. I think people in AEW were like, no, you need to get fucking Toni Storm.
Maybe. But what we're talking about isn't like people in the company. We're talking about public perception, right? So it's hard for me to remember. But
the public perception is that Toni Storm was getting underutilized and looking like a fucking fool on SmackDown.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then she asked for her fucking release and they gave it to her and like, no, you need to fucking get this chick.
I don't remember the conversations that were happening at the time around it. Were people like hoping that she would go to AEW? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah. It was a big deal when she came over. There was a lot of people that wanted her to win the fucking world title on her first night. But yeah, like I feel like it's a relatively new thing too. But I mean, it's cool to see that there are people this interested. I mean, we're covering it on the show for fuck's sakes. Like, it's a big deal. It's a big topics. Like these are.
Athena was before that, wasn't she?
Athena got released too, though.
Oh yeah, true. Oh yeah, that was that weird wave where they released a bunch of people that everybody was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yep.
That was
like during
COVID.
Like during COVID, I think.
I think Bray Wyatt first got released in that same wave as Ember Moon. And Strowman too, right? Or was that the Strowman wave? Or were they different? I don't remember. It's been so
They release everybody. They release people every year, so I don't know.
But yeah, Mariah May, as far as I've heard, I haven't heard anything about her really going anywhere except for AEW. Kairi, it would make sense for her to go back to WWE.
I think. Okay, so Kairi going back to WWE, obviously that's been in the works for a while because, like I said, she was technically just an ambassador and went back to Japan and wanted to take a break or something to that. Something to my knowledge, maybe get married or whatever the fuck it was. Then, of course, she had matches because they were supposed to be opening up a WWE NXT Japan, is what we were told by a lot of people.
That was back in like
before
October.
COVID.
So, well, that's the thing, though, right? They did do something in Japan recently because I remember reading the article that basically said that whatever show they ran there had way less viewership than even Noah did for like TV ratings or whatever. They had like they had Muda on there and some other shit. and the ratings that they ended up getting were like crazy low compared to what they anticipated. Fuck, I don't remember. It wasn't NXT Japan. It was something else. But yeah, no, something they recently did there got like super low ratings compared to what people got there. I think it was hold on, I'll find it. I'll find it. I know what it is. Let's see.
Anyway, so Mariah May's best option to me is fucking going to AEW because she loves Japan so much. Like, I don't know if you've seen her fucking tweets and shit since and videos and stuff, but there's no way she's going back to Japan in WWE. So it makes the most sense to be in AEW anyway. Just like we say with everybody else that's coming from Japan. If you want to still go to Japan, Mercedes Moné, fucking Omega, Jay White, you know, shit like that. Like, it makes the most sense to go to AEW if you love Japan that much, because then you can still actually go over there.
I got it. So it's the they started a new media rights deal for their shows there is what it was. Abima. They got a new media rights deal with a Japanese company called Abima, where that's who they're streaming all their events and stuff through now. And it looks like the ratings on it were not good for the first thing that they ran, is apparently the story. Which, you know.
They had a new Japanese women's wrestling company that is on TikTok now too, streaming live on TikTok.
Oh yeah?
I forgot what it's called. But it had some people that I knew on there. It had fuck, I forgot her name now. Ram. Oh, chick that paints her face white with black eyes. Her name is Ram something. Comedy wrestler in most of the things that I've seen her in. Kind of like a Maki Ito type deal. But anyway, I think I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. If Kyrie comes back and doesn't win the women's title, in my opinion, it's a fail. She didn't win it the first time. I don't know why the fuck you would have her come all the way back and then still get put in like something stupid like a tag team or whatever and lose a bunch of all her main matches. So like I don't have a problem with her coming back, but if she's just gonna sit there and come up and lose every fucking main match she has or main feud she has, it's stupid to me.
I don't think they would do that.
Okay.
I mean, if they got to be paying some amount of money to get her back, right? So do you do that just to bring her in and do nothing? If anything, they might try to use it to restart the women's tag division, right? And put her and Asuka back together.
I don't want to see that shit. They need to fucking have her go against Io Sky. Or she needs to come in and fucking be the underdog person that finally takes it off of Rhea. I don't give a fuck which one they go with. But they need to do something. She needs to win the title if she comes back.
Okay. I'm just saying you can't really complain about the tag division not being good if you're not willing to put people in the tag division, right?
Well, they haven't been. That's why I can complain all I want. Putting fucking Asuka with Kairi Sane isn't going to make your tag division good all of a sudden.
It'll make the champions
that makes two teams. Good job.
Makes the champions
good job. You put another team together that you can fucking, so now you can break up the other team after they get the titles.
What other
so
team?
you can have Asuka and fucking Kairi beat Chelsea Green and whoever the fuck her partner is for that week, and then they can fucking split up because they're not a real team anyway. The people that fucking actually hold the titles, and then you can just have the one real team. Whoever the tag team champions are at the time are the only real fucking team that you have. What the fuck happened to Alba Fire and fucking Isla Dawn? What the fuck happened to them? I'm so glad we had this fucking draft so I can watch NXT with all the fucking main roster people that got drafted to fucking Raw and SmackDown come back over for NXT WrestleMania, which is, I believe, was what they're calling it, right? NXT WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy for that. What the fuck was the point of the draft? We had a whole goddamn draft fucking show. Both nights.
What the fuck has ever been the point of the draft since like 2009, bro?
Because he made it a point to say it this time. I think the only time it ever actually mattered was 2002. Well, the fucking first one.
Whatever the SmackDown versus Raw games were out, it still mattered then. And I think
on
the
the game, yeah. Not in real life. Oh fuck!
No, like in real, it mattered in real life.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
There was an obvious like.
There's fucking bragging rights pay-per-views that didn't make any sense because you just had the draft. You literally just had the draft and you hit it with the bragging rights and got everybody fucking switched over. And why are you fucking fighting for your fucking life for Raw when you were just on SmackDown 2 weeks ago? Makes no sense.
I got a lot of loyalty to this place. I just
oh
got
my
picked up
god.
on.
Anyway,
it reminds me of the. Do you remember the Survivor Series where Seth and Roman were on one team and Moxley was on the other one? I think it was AJ Styles they ended up doing.
Yeah, and then they ended up fucking doing the triple power bomb to somebody else. Yeah,
because he's just like, I don't have any fucking allegiance to SmackDown over the Shield. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah.
All right, so we talked about Kyrie a little bit in WWE. Let's talk about Mariah May. What do you think her ceiling is in AEW? Still very young.
Still very young. How old is she? Like 24? That doesn't sound right. 25. Yeah. What? Okay. With her style and her name, I don't know how much name value she has outside of promotions that she's already worked for. Like I know that there are people
that's
that are
that's
excited
AEW's job, though, is it not? Kind of like Jade Cargill. You're supposed to be fucking making her name value something bigger.
I understand, but my point is, where do they start her at? Like, how do you
think she's gonna be in Ring of Honor? You mean type deal?
That, or do you build her up by like having her just have like normal, credible, good matches, or do you immediately bring her in and throw her at the top of the card and start off saying, no, this person is a big deal. You need to treat them like they're a big deal.
No, I know one thing I would not do: not turn the fucking lights out and have her appear. I know that because I think the audience would be dead as fuck. Yeah. Like Butcher and Blade style, I wouldn't do that. No, I would not do that. I would have her just like casually maybe walk backstage by Renee, and Renee's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" type deal. Like, yeah, something like that. Kind of like what they were doing to boost up Collision, where Andrade and Thunder Rosa and Miro all came back there and went to Tony Khan's office. Something like that, maybe. I'd do something like that. I don't even think having her just show up randomly on a Ring of Honor taping is going to be that great of a I want you to introduce her on a live show, but just not be like some surprise opponent or some surprise thing to attack somebody afterwards, because it's not going to get a reaction. And you need to just have her like in a backstage type deal, and everybody, oh shit, Mariah May is actually going to be on AEW type deal, and then people can start looking up her matches that are not familiar with her work, shit like that. And she can have her first match, kind of like what they did with Nick Wayne and fucking Billy Starks. I would introduce them like that. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, I think if they made the mistake of doing it like, here's an open challenge for some women's title or whatever, and then they have her come out, like it'd be a little bit dead. Unless she wins, but I doubt they do that. So,
But on TV, you'd have to be willing to give it enough time, and it'd have to be like obviously Chris Statlander's title, not fucking the world title. So,
why not?
Well, I mean, if Saraya's still holding it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that she's winning on Tuesday. So I don't know.
Because you remember how she originally won her first main roster title.
Yeah, if Saraya gets on the mic and starts talking shit, and then Mariah May comes out there, yeah, I mean, I'm cool with that. But most likely, if you want it to be a really good match, though, right?
Yeah.
Statlander
if you want it to
versus
be a really
Mariah
good
May.
match, you don't put Saraya.
If you're going to put time into the match, though, like, I'm not saying Saraya can't have a good match, but you're not going to fucking give her 20 minutes on a fucking Dynamite, or like even 10, 12 minutes, because you don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
I can give her 20 minutes on a fucking pay-per-view.
No, slow the fuck down, dude. Slow down. Mariah May. Focus. Mariah May.
Yeah.
I do think that she can win the world title eventually. I think she's very gifted.
She's got a lot of potential. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
She kind of reminds me of Stratton a little bit. It's like you could tell that there's something they both naturally have.
Well,
like
very athletic. Yes. It definitely can do character work too. Obviously, I get all that comparison stuff. I don't like it. It was almost like the funny thing is a lot of people don't realize that or remember this, especially if you're really young. A lot of people were comparing Rhea Ripley to Charlotte because of the way she looked back in the day.
Oh, went back when she was blonde with long hair.
NXT Cruise Women's Classic, all that kind of shit.
Came out in the silver gear.
Yeah, she had the long blonde hair, no tattoos. It was insane.
Yeah,
but it had the heavy metal music and shit. But everybody was like, "Oh man, she's kind of like Charlotte Flair. She's like very athletic type deal as well." And then, as you can see, like she completely has changed. She's changed more than the fucking Undertaker already. As many fucking different looks she's had.
Change into the Undertaker.
She's gonna be the Undertaker by the time it's all done. Yeah. I'll have the fucking Druids and everything coming out. But yeah, so like, I mean, I get the comparison. I just don't like. I don't know if they like that shit, and I don't know. If I'm Mariah May, I don't know if I'm sitting there like, please don't compare me to fucking Tiffany Stratton type deal. But I get what you're saying.
It's not based on their look, even though
it's kind of more like so people can understand that don't know who Mariah May is.
Both of them are young and have a natural ability for it that you don't often see in people that age, if that makes sense. Normally,
ahead of their time, kind of like an MJF.
A few years older.
Like, you're not supposed to be this good that fast type deal. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
all right,
that's all.
Let's move over to our final hot tag topic. We're gonna grade Hulk Hogan's Mount Rushmore A+ to F-. Now we graded a couple weeks ago, a few shows ago. We graded Bret Hart's best WWE list. Now this Mount Rushmore is apparently everyone. Okay, so all of wrestling.
I'm sure it's fascinating.
All right, so this is what he went with, and I give him credit, just like Bret. He did not put himself on the list.
He did.
Shocking, I know. Shocking, I know.
He did in his head, 100%.
Shocking, I know. Yeah, Bret probably did too. Bret probably did too. Bret takes himself so seriously. Don't start. Bret probably did too.
I said that Bret wouldn't do it.
Bret's list from just WWE, which we gave, I think, an A-, maybe something like that, was Roddy Piper, Randy Savage, Taker, and Austin. And Ryan said he would have took Austin off. I mean, Taker off. Taker for sure. Anyway, this is all of it. This is everybody.
Okay.
Andre, Flair,
okay,
The Rock, and Austin. Now, I can't put The Rock on any of my lists. The only one that he would ever be considered for is the WWE list that Bret did. But he has such a short run. The Austin one makes a lot more sense on Hogan's list than it does Bret's list, because Austin, you can go back to the WCW, the ECW, then the WWE. Whereas Bret Hart's WWE list, like we said on the show, was a very short run. So I actually like the Austin pick better on Hogan's list than I do Bret Hart's list, because the criteria is slightly different. I also like Flair on the list, obviously. I don't like
Flair's
Rock,
fine.
And even though I do love Andre, I don't like that pick either.
I think the only pick that I would leave up there without trying to argue it too much is probably Flair. I would immediately drop Andre. Like, Andre was a spectacle, but he wasn't a good wrestler. Like, what was the criteria? What was the question? What was the question?
It was on the Chris Van Fleet show. All he said was fucking Mount Rushmore wrestling. That's all he said. So I would assume all encompassing.
I don't know how the fuck you put Andre on there.
Yeah, it's not like Andre sold tickets, but it wasn't on a nightly basis because he didn't wrestle every night, and he didn't sell merch like Rock and Austin did.
Wrestler, he was just a spectacle.
Exactly. So, like, yes, overall, I agree with you. Andre's got to come off, and I would take Rock off because of longevity.
My Mount Rushmore is Great Khali. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? He's just big.
I think he put Andre on there because Andre made Hogan, and Hogan didn't want to put himself on there and look like a jackass. Kind of like what Bret did. Bret put a bunch of people on there that
were associated with him. Yeah. Put that Piper match on there so that you remember that I had a match with him. Yeah. Piper.
We will not be slandering Austin Piper on this show, my guy.
I'm not saying that Piper was bad, but if I'm gonna say a top 4 all-time whatever, I can probably
top 4 WWE. I'm having Piper on the list.
I understand.
Okay. Yeah, I know, because we've had this conversation already.
I know.
But okay, so we're taking Rock off. We're talking about all of wrestling, so we're easily taking Rock off.
Yeah.
We're taking Andre off. And you're taking Austin off too?
I'm taking Austin off. Yeah. All time?
I don't agree with that.
All time, motherfucker.
Dude, you still don't understand how good this man was, dude. I don't understand how you don't get it.
Let's look at it like this. What trait would you say you value the most in somebody that you are putting at the top? Let's not do that, because it's got to be. What are the top 2 traits that you value the most, and when you're considering like somebody for the best of all time, of all of history, whatever, for Mount Rushmore?
Probably wrestling ability.
Okay,
And
so Andre's
probably...
out. Austin's out.
No, he's
Rock's
not.
out.
Why do you keep talking about Austin like he's not a good wrestler, dude? I
What did
told
you
you, if
say
you go
about
back to fucking
Wrestling
WCW, you'll change your mind. I've
I don't
told you
give a
this
shit.
already. If
I
you
don't give
fucking
a
stop hunting for a fucking Saturday and come watch some fucking Before Bischoff fucking episodes with me, well, you can fucking find out for yourself
Well, you can
that
wait till
Austin,
fall is
Stunning
over.
Steve Austin is a good wrestler. Great wrestler.
I have to kill deer, bro. They've wronged me. Also,
Unless you're vacuuming packing that shit and sending me some jerky, I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it.
I might, because I don't have a big freezer anymore. I had to get rid of the chest one because it broke.
I'm keeping Austin on there because you also have to take into account the overness, the merchandise sales, all that shit eventually. But you just said top 2, but that's not what we're talking about.
Okay, so what's your other?
Those are my
what's
top
your
2
second-
things, though.
So,
Yes.
so your top 2 traits are overness and wrestling ability. How many wrestlers in the world, ever, that have all existed for all of time, would you say have better wrestling ability than Stone Cold Steve Austin?
It's not Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's just Steve Austin, first of all.
Okay, then Steve Austin, his whole fucking catalog. Okay, how many would you say have better in-ring work than him?
A decent amount.
Hundreds.
But they don't touch him on overness, though.
On overness, sure, but when you're talking about a balance of multiple traits, being really good at one thing doesn't outweigh being pretty fucking average, maybe a little bit above average at the other thing.
Disagree.
It does.
Ricky Steamboat is a
I would never
very...
put Ricky Steamboat on a Mount Rushmore.
You're putting Ricky Steamboat over Austin?
I said I never would put Ricky Steamboat on.
But I'm just asking you, okay, but you said Austin's not on it either. So if we're ranking them, we're down in the 20s or some shit, wherever the fuck you want to be with Austin. You're putting Ricky Steamboat over Austin?
Probably.
No, you're fucking out of your mind. Out of your mind.
When I weight things, the weighting for my like Mount Rushmore is somebody that's like a good representative of what professional wrestling is, in the sense that it's not just like, are they over? Does the crowd like them? What, like, I would never put LA Knight on a fucking Mount Rushmore either. Crowd fucking loves him. They go crazy every time. Jey Uso, when he does this, people fucking love him, but I wouldn't put him on a fucking Mount Rushmore because he's just, when it comes to what they do in the ring, it's just not comparable to the people
You can't. First of all, you can't use people that are active right now. That's fucking, one was a tag team fucking forever, and one dude just got over.
Saying,
that's not the same.
Being over in and of itself is not. It doesn't weight that much for me. It just doesn't. It matters.
Anyway,
it matters,
I have no issue with. I have no issue with Austin being on the list.
It doesn't weight enough for me to say he's one of the top 4 of all time for the entire fucking history of everything, when he's a above average slightly wrestler because he was so over. That's crazy to me.
He's above average wrestler, way over, and fucking was the reason why we had the highest ratings ever in America for fucking wrestling ever. So yeah,
okay,
that's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal, dude. Most merch ever sold.
Here, I'm gonna ask you a real quick question. I want you to really think about it. Don't just knee jerk answer. Okay. Who is a better wrestler in ring? Bryan Danielson or Steve Austin?
Bryan Danielson.
Right. Who at their peak was more over, Bryan Danielson
Austin
or Steve Austin? Right. Now, the gap between those two categories, do you think the gap in Danielson's wrestling ability to Austin's wrestling ability versus the gap between Austin's overness and Danielson's overness, do you think, which of those two gaps do you think is bigger?
I think they're pretty close.
I would say the wrestling ability gap is way fucking
I don't think
larger.
so. Like, see, you keep focusing on this fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin version of this. Okay,
I don't think Stone Cold Steve Austin should be on any fucking Mount Rushmore just because glass breaks and people clap like fucking seals.
I can do a fucking Mount Rushmore of biggest merch movers ever, and fucking Austin's #1, so it doesn't matter. So here's my issue. Here's my thing.
That's crazy.
My thing is, I'm laughing at your question anyway because guess what? Danielson's on my Mount Rushmore, so it doesn't matter.
I understand that. I'm complaining about anybody.
It doesn't matter. I have Austin and Danielson on my Mount Rushmore.
Talking about yours, be quiet. Listen, if I'm criticizing,
you literally asked me if I would have him on there.
Yes. Listen to my question. When I'm talking about what Hulk Hogan has put together, the reason that I would take Austin off is because there's somebody I could very easily slot in.
Who else are you going to slot in?
Plenty of fucking people.
You're so full of shit. You're so full of shit.
You think Tanahashi isn't more over?
Tanahashi's not on my Mount Rushmore. He's not on my Mount Rushmore.
I'm just asking. Do you think he's a better wrestler than Steve Austin? Be serious.
No, I think they're actually very similar. Actually, I think they're very similar. I think they were both really good when they were young, and then as they got older, they had to change their game, and they're not as good.
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero is a great wrestler, but he's never been fucking close to Austin's fucking merch or overness.
Is he a better wrestler?
Eddie Guerrero was more over after he passed away than he was when he was alive.
Ooh. Damn. Don't let anybody clip that one.
I'm serious. It's a fucking fact. Everybody acting like oh, they romanticize fucking Eddie Guerrero after the fact.
I think he was pretty over during the Lesnar arc.
I mean, he was over in that moment. Yes.
Okay. Well, here's one. Fucking Brock Lesnar.
No, he's not. Why the fuck would you think that Brock Lesnar would be on my Mount Rushmore?
I'm because of the two criteria that you said.
No,
were the most important
I said the top. There's more than two though.
No,
I'm taking more into account than that.
But the two that are most important to you, do you think Lesnar has more
overness? No.
Do you remember the when Seth Rollins was champion and Triple H is in the ring with him and he's like, yeah, you've got another challenge coming up and we're gonna give you that pressure until you turn into a diamond, and Seth Rollins like, I'm ready, and then fucking Brock Lesnar's music hit, boy. Don't tell me that, like,
literally fucking 52 episodes a year of Raw when the fucking roof comes off every time the glass shatters. Don't point out one fucking Brock Lesnar moment to me and act like that's supposed to be the same. Not even close.
What I'm saying is
Brock
that
Lesnar's
people's response to Lesnar.
There's not, no. There's a response, but it ain't no fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin response. I don't give a fuck.
It's the same.
It's not the same.
Oh,
it's not even close.
Glass break, guy who go like this and curse a lot.
Dude,
glass break.
Don't start. Okay, I'm done with you. Who are you putting on your fucking? No, I'm done. Because you're so full of shit. You're so full of shit right now.
Overrated, bro.
Andre's off. Brock is off, and Austin is off for you. So Flair's still on. Flair also, who's never had any fucking reaction like Austin has. Just so you know. Excuse me.
Bullshit.
Or the whole, he was a fucking heel most of the time. How the fuck? What? Please tell me what crowd reaction that Ric Flair got.
That the fucking difference between heels and faces, I can already do that calculation in my fucking head. I don't need to have the exact same. We clap because he's a good guy.
Wrong.
I understand that somebody's reaction to somebody.
That's so wrong. No one's ever booed him like. No one's ever booed Ric Flair like they have Don Callis. No one.
Yeah, Don Callis.
You couldn't hear what the fuck Ric Flair said on the mic. You could always hear Ric Flair on the mic.
That's why Don Callis is on my Mount Rushmore.
You're so full of shit, dude.
His work is Jackal, character work.
Fucking great wrestler. All right, I'm done with you. Fucking Jackal. Fucking anyway. So, all right. So Flair is the only one that you said would still be on. So I assume that you have somebody like Omega on there, Danielson, maybe. You said Pac's probably in your top 10, but I don't know if he would make your fucking Mount Rushmore. Ospreay, maybe. I don't fucking know. Who are you going to go all Japan, Eddie Kingston style, New Japan stuff?
I would definitely be considering like a Misawa before I would be considering an Austin, if that's your question. Yeah.
No, there's no way.
Fucking even
and that's more. That's not. And like if I just take like you're looking at fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin as just Stone Cold Steve Austin, not as everything else, because you're not very familiar with his work, and we've already noted that, and I'm not going to hold that against you.
I'm very familiar with his work.
You're not familiar with Stunning Steve Austin's work. It's already fucking been proven on the show.
No, I don't give a shit what he did in WCW when nobody gave a fuck about him. I don't care.
WCW was the second fucking biggest promotion. What are you talking about?
When Hulk Hogan says that Austin is on his Mount Rushmore, it's because of the shit that he did in WCW?
Kenny Omega's on your fucking Mount Rushmore for the shit that he did in New Japan, which is the fucking way fucking lower than WCW ever was compared to WWE.
You think the fucking belt collector arc wasn't like...
Oh my god. Now you're picking out fucking arcs and we're putting them on the Mount Rushmore for an arc.
What are you talking about when you talk about
out of here with this shit, dude?
Austin, back when he was Stunning Steve in WCW, he used to be able to do fucking backflips.
Because it's part of the entire fucking set of Austin, though.
But you're isolating
in the second biggest company that you're acting like doesn't matter because it's WCW.
You are trying to isolate that part of his career to say that he was like, stop.
You're only looking at Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm telling you to fucking not isolate yourself and look at everything.
You are isolating that part as your argument for why he's a good wrestler.
No, I'm not.
Like in ring.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No,
because
I'm not.
You would never say that Stone Cold Steve Austin was a good in-ring worker, would you?
Yes.
You are out of your fucking mind. How?
Do you know
Make
what
a barely
working
fucking
is
move.
exactly? Do you know what working is?
Yeah,
You know
I
what
do.
do you know
And
what
I know
working
he
it is?
barely fucking move, and everything he did looked slow as shit. Didn't look fucking good. Didn't
Oh
look like
my
it hurt.
God.
His little fucking
Holy
Luther
shit.
where he starts punching like this. Like
Whatever,
nobody
dude.
gives a
You're so
fuck
full
about
of shit,
that shit.
dude. You're
Austin
so
is
full
so
of shit.
fucking overrated,
You're so
bro.
full of shit, dude.
I would take Goldberg
Overrated.
and put fucking Austin in there.
My God, Jesus Christ. This motherfucker literally said that the WCW shit doesn't count, but Kenny Omega's New Japan run counts.
But I didn't say it doesn't count. I'm saying that if that's the only period that you can point at where you can say that he was a good in-ring wrestler, like technically a good worker, and then you have the whole fucking like last 75% of his career that he's actually known for, and he wasn't good in the ring then I'm not going to say that he's a good in-ring worker.
That doesn't make any sense because the part that he was good in for the fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin was the character in the fucking overness. So he does both. He did both in his entire career.
If you're not doing both at the same time, then I don't give a fuck.
Holy shit. Whatever, dude. That's such bullshit, dude. That's so bullshit.
Okay,
He should get
so-
more credit for fucking reinventing himself.
No, he shouldn't.
Yes, he should.
No, you don't. No. You don't get credit for like wobbling out to the fucking ring, okay, and then occasionally doing a Feds press.
Man, you got a really fucked up memory
Okay.
of Austin in fucking WWE, bro.
He was
You got
not
a
a good
really
wrestler.
fucked
He was
up
not a good
memory,
wrestler.
dude.
He
You
was
got
a
you acting
boring-
like it's fucking Mick Foley or fucking
boring-
Matt Hardy now walking out to the ring. That's not how it was.
Boring fucking brawler type.
Whatever, dude. You're
like
so full of shit.
generic.
You literally
goddamn,
just
like,
said that you love brawling that type of fucking wrestling. Shut up.
I like strong style. There's a difference between strong
You
style
think
and
that
brawling.
the punches that he gave when he fucking Luthez mounted somebody are less effective than fucking goddamn Eddie Kingston doing the machine chop bullshit in the corner? It's the
I like
same
Eddie Kingston.
shit.
I didn't say I like the machine
It's the
chop
same
shit, but I
shit.
know why he does it too.
Whatever, dude. All right, so let's get to your Mount Rushmore then. Because your grade obviously is going to be very low for Hogan because you're taking 3 dudes off, right?
Master Watto.
All right, so that's a 25% grade. That's a 25% grade you're giving Hogan here. This is definitely an F minus. But you're keeping Flair out of all the 4. Okay, so I would keep Flair and Austin. I'm taking 2 off for sure. I'm giving this motherfucker a Bret Hart's list, probably just because it was just WWE. Obviously, we gave that one a pretty high grade.
Yeah.
This one
What do
I'm
you
going to
think
give a D. Give it a D.
Hmm.
I understand why he put Rock on there because he had the big match with The Rock, 2 big matches with The Rock. I understand why he put Andre on there. He literally had 3 people that he fucking had big moments with, and then Austin, who he never got the moment with, because probably Hogan wanted to go over and Austin said, no, fuck you. So I understand why the people are on his specific list, but I'm just not feeling Andre and The Rock being on there. So I'm giving it a D. It's like you said, I agree with you. Andre is not even close to a Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore, best giants of all time. Yeah, sure.
All right, brother. I gotta fucking ask because this doesn't make any sense. What argument do you have for keeping Austin on that doesn't also apply to The Rock?
Because The Rock had the exact same fucking lineage of career pretty much in WWE as Austin did.
I understand that. So why would you
But
take off The
Austin
Rock?
has
and
all
not-
the backlog of ECW and WCW. That's why.
So
And
again,
AWA, by the way. I mean, not AWA, but World Class.
World Class, yeah. You're saying that their careers ran parallel. They did the exact same thing. They were about equal in-ring workers for the time that they were actually known and famous. But because when he was stunning Steve or when he was doing ECW shit or whatever, he like moved better in the ring. Like what is
He had
what
better
is the-
matches than The Rock did. The Rock didn't just come out as The Rock. That motherfucker came out
I
in some
remember Rocky
stupid.
Maivia,
Okay,
yeah,
so
I understand,
that
yeah.
doesn't matter to me then. Okay, so the reason that fucking Stunning Steve, I hold so much shit with Stunning Steve is because he wasn't a jobber. It's not like we're talking about a jobber in World Class. He won titles in World Class. He won titles in WCW. He was fucking tag team champion, US champion, TV champion. We're not talking about he was fucking jobbing and then came to fucking WWE and then hit it big time. That's not how this worked.
It kind of
No,
was,
it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
The only reason he didn't fucking win the world title in WCW is because of fucking Ric Flair.
Yeah, who's on the list because he won. Because he's the best.
Yeah, because he fucking held everybody else down, which is why I don't know why Hogan didn't put himself on the list.
It's I would never put Austin on there before Okada. That's crazy. I wouldn't put him on there before Tanahashi.
Okay, what are you basing Okada's character work / fucking promo work / overness on compared to Austin? If you're just talking about in-ring ability, sure, but the rest of it over Austin?
Okay, so the way that promo work works in Japan is not the same as American wrestling. So
I understand
it's not like a one-to-one translation. So
yeah, I understand that.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying that he would go out there and cut like a fucking scathing promo on Vince McMahon about how I drink beer and I'm a normal man, so I could beat the shit out of you and you're my boss. I don't give a fuck about any of that. All that shit was like, whatever, dude. All that shit was corny to me. But Okada's character work was much more
the biggest
like
wrestling period in all of wrestling was corny.
You got a lot of people with bad fucking taste. I don't know what to tell you. Backstreet Boys had a lot of number one albums too. Okay. So the Okada stuff is more about like building his reputation and mystique as like a competitor. It was, and his like presentation and stuff. It wasn't like he's going out there to go have a fucking 15-minute in-ring promo with somebody. But like we were just talking about with CM Punk going to Japan, it's because that's not really an environment where that is the norm or what you do. Even Kenny Omega's like New Japan promos were again like
no, I understand that, but doesn't that also work in my favor though? Because you're saying that CM Punk can't go over there and do that, so he can't really get over as a performer because of that, right? Because he can't do the one thing that he's the best at. I'm saying that fucking not only has Austin gone to Japan, but I know for a fact that Austin could get over in Japan when he was on the younger side, obviously.
When you're talking about who is the best in a category, you have to take that category in the context of both their time and their promotion. So when I'm talking about character work, I'm not looking at promos specifically for New Japan because they're not a promo heavy company. I'm looking at character work that's told through wrestling, through like post fight interviews, like through the aura that they create for themselves.
Well, you can't omit an entire category when that category is something that's a big deal for fucking somebody else, though.
The category is still character work.
Okay, well, the
promos part of character work.
Oh my god, you can't tell character work for Okada. He comes out with fucking rain that comes down. That's it. His character is literally the ace or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Sting didn't talk for 2 fucking years and was one of the best characters in WCW. What do you mean?
But he has more of a catalog than that. He still had fucking other shit where he was a promo.
Shut up. No,
by the way, Sting wouldn't be on the list anyway because even his promo work wasn't good anyway.
But that's kind of the point that I'm getting at, is that Sting was the most compelling character. He did the best character work in WCW.
What is the character work that you love about Okada? That's my question to you.
I literally just said this. Like he's got this aura is like this
an aura is not character work, dude.
It is when you deliberately build that up to be part of the character presentation that you have, yes.
No, he's not doing Sting. He's not doing what you're saying, though.
It's why you don't like Austin Theory. It's why you don't like Sammy Guevara. I mean, you might like Sammy Guevara, but I mean, you're not mentioning him in these conversations. The stuff that they do in the ring is fine.
Mentioning them anyway because you keep using people that are still wrestling or are still very young into their careers.
But this is the point that I'm getting at. I'm not saying they couldn't build it before the end of their career. What I'm saying is it's obvious when somebody hasn't ever built it.
Why do you think I don't like Austin Theory? Allegations aside, because that's obviously a main thing.
You probably think that he's too generic and his fucking in-ring work is too boring, even though it's better than LA Knight's.
And what are you comparing? What are you comparing this to? No, LA Knight is a lot better at what. LA Knight is a lot better at what he does than Austin Theory is at what he does.
But are you going to argue that Austin Theory is a worse in-ring worker than LA Knight?
He is worse.
In ring?
Yeah.
You are out of your fucking mind.
No, I'm not.
What does LA Knight do that impresses you in ring?
He has a moveset that he sticks to. He knows what he's good at. He does it. Austin Theory is not good at what he even fucking does.
So does John Cena.
I've never said that John Cena was a terrible wrestler.
Okay. You're missing the point, though.
I don't think so, because you keep trying to fucking throw this shit on me like I'm saying certain things that I've never said it.
The point that I'm making is that character work isn't necessarily just like about what you say, it's about the aura that you build. So when you're talking about people like Okada or like Sting in WCW or like a lot of Japanese wrestlers, it's not like Tanahashi like has these super long fucking promos or anything like that. And Naito either. But the reason Naito's actually a great example. Naito, when he was in his like LIJ arc or whatever, it's not like he was cutting these fucking like long promos on anybody or anything like that. It was literally just like the embodiment of that LIJ like tranquilo shit, the whole attitude that he displayed, the way that he dressed, the way that he carried himself, the way that he wrestled, like all his little mannerisms and fucking taunts and whatever. It was not about like, oh, I can cut an MJF promo on somebody. That's
But
not
you're not
why Naito
understanding
is
that you
over as
can't
he
just
is.
omit it from the conversation when it's actually a part
It's
of
not-
wrestling.
It's not omitted. It's that you have to consider
What
someone's
did you
character
asked me
work.
a few minutes ago? You asked me about the gap between Danielson and
And I'm
on
comparing
Austin, right?
those
Do you know
two.
what the fucking gap would be between Austin's promo
No.
and fucking Okada's promo because they don't do that over there?
But that's why I didn't say promo. I didn't say which one's a better promo, did I? No, because promos are not the only way to get a fucking character over, and I know that from watching Japanese wrestling for so long. Promos
I'm not
are
putting Naito nor Tanahashi on the list anyway, and I'm definitely not putting Okada on there. Although I would probably, I'm putting Omega on there probably.
What's the most famous Liger promo that you remember?
None, but he's
Right.
not on my Mount Rushmore either.
And how over was Liger?
Yeah, he's over, but he's not on
Very
my list,
fucking
so
over.
it doesn't matter. What are you not understanding about this?
You're missing the point. I understand.
No,
they're not on your
you're
list.
missing the point, dude. He's
I
not
understand
on
they're
the
not on
Mount
your
Rushmore.
list,
There's no one on
motherfucker.
my
Jesus
Mount
Christ,
Rushmore
pay
that isn't
attention.
over and can cut a promo. No
You're
one.
not paying attention. You're not paying attention. So
They
I
have to be able to
understand that
do
they are
all
not
of
on
it.
your list. What I'm saying is that when you're talking about somebody's character work, promo is like one sliver of multiple things that make up character work.
Yeah, but I'm just using the word promo, guy. I'm not fucking gonna fucking do all this all-encompassing thing. I'm just using that word for that specific thing. It's not like I'm literally just focused on promo. You know what the fuck I'm talking about?
You necessarily have to weight it differently if they're in an environment
No, I
where
don't.
there is
I
no
don't.
promo. It's like, would you compare the script of a fucking silent film to the script of like a modern movie? When you're comparing the whether or not they were like the best movies of all time.
Yes.
No, that's retarded.
Yes, I would.
No.
The silent movie probably would not make my Mount Rushmore of greatest movies of all time.
You have to consider things within the context of their time.
No, I don't. That's not what a Mount Rushmore is. You have to encompass everything.
A Mount Rushmore is a list of the top 4 of anything, right?
Yeah, depending on what the fucking thing is. But this is literally Hogan's list.
Well,
is different from Bret Hart's
if we were
list.
truly being representative of the top 4 wrestlers of all time, they would all be guys that are probably still currently active.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think they would.
I don't think so. I disagree with that because Flair is on my list and he's not active as of last year. As of last year, or whatever the fuck it was, with his last match or whatever.
Yeah,
but like,
Jeff
there's guys
Jarrett.
like, for instance, Eddie Kingston says Terry Funk is the best wrestler in the world.
Mhm.
Have you ever looked at Terry Funk and been like, man, he's the greatest in-ring worker of all time?
I've looked at Terry Funk and thought that he was a very good in-ring worker.
Okay.
But no, I've never looked at him like he was the best.
Okay. All right. That's my point. It's like, clearly that's based off of character work or promos and all this other shit and just being able to do a bunch of different styles, obviously, that Eddie Kingston likes, where he can go out and beat the shit out of somebody straight up, or he can do weapons, shit like that. And because he has a whole long ass catalog of shit where he was like a legit pure fucking like gotch style fucking wrestler when he was with his brother with the Funks, with Dory. So like, he's done it all. That's my point with Austin, is he's done it all. He's done the fucking quick fucking Brian Pillman type stuff. He's done the bigger stuff later on in WCW, where he was literally going to be the next guy until Flair held him down. And he won all those fucking mid-card titles and stuff, and the fucking Hollywood Blondes with Brian Pillman in the tag team division. Then when he came to WWE, he was the fucking megastar that he was. And he has all of it in the same catalog. That's my point. I'm looking at everything overall. And in this particular Mount Rushmore, I am anyway, is what I mean. Because this Mount Rushmore was literally in wrestling. It's not like Bret Hart's where it was in WWE. So that's why I said Austin would be on this list, but Austin would not be on my WWE list.
Do you agree that there's so when you mentioned Kingston and Funk, I'm assuming that the point that you're trying to make is that there's some level of subjectivity in your interpretation of it or whatever, right?
I mean, that would be everybody's. I mean, obviously, we have a different thing that we think Mount Rushmore is, obviously. That's why Mount Rushmore lists exist.
Here's my question to you, though, is that would you agree that there's also a degree of objectivity? There's some wrestlers that are just objectively better in every fucking way than other wrestlers.
I mean, I can't sit here and say no to that, because there's a lot of the same names that pop up on a lot of people's lists. So there's have to be Some
Well,
of that.
there's a super easy way to do this. Would you say that Kenny Omega is a better wrestler than James Ellsworth? Yes. Nobody would say
I don't know.
otherwise,
I haven't
right?
seen all of James Ellsworth the matches.
Oh, maybe when he was in WCW, he was a tag team champion. And a
Why
US
do
champion.
you keep acting like that doesn't matter?
Anyway, so listen. It wasn't. I just wanted to make a joke. So we all agree that there actually is a level of objectivity to it, right? What we're trying to work toward is okay, maybe
But
not
I
James
think
Ellsworth.
I will say that I think the objectivity is a lot less than the subjectivity. Obviously, it's way more opinion based. But if you came at me and said James Ellsworth and fucking Master Wato was on your Mount Rushmore,
Hey,
I'd laugh in your
don't work
face.
Master Wato into
Yes,
this.
I am, because you brought him up earlier. You shouldn't have fucking brought his ass up earlier. If Master Wato's on your Mount Rushmore list of greatest of all time, then I'm
Over
gonna
Austin?
laugh in your fucking face.
He is over Austin.
No,
Better
he's
character
not.
work. Better character work. Better in ring. So.
Probably can't even fucking swing around any nunchucks without hitting himself in the fucking face. Let's be real here.
Shinsuke couldn't either. Let's be real.
What?
So, did you see the shit he did in that match with when he brought out the fucking nunchucks?
He's awesome at it.
Nah, that's pretty, all he did was that's it.
That's all he needs to do.
Oh.
Fucking Raphael, baby.
Also, nunchucks are dumb as shit. You
Well,
know,
not
from
Raphael,
a leverage
but,
point of view,
Michelangelo.
you're never gonna hit harder with a fucking nunchuck than you would just like a stick, since you can swing it with both hands. It doesn't make any sense. There's no like continuum of force. Anyway,
Nunchucks are
fucking
more
dumb.
for when you have like 4 people surrounding you, I think, than
You
one
can do the
dude.
same
Like
thing with
one
a
dude
stick.
just fucking go like this. I don't know why you just I don't know why he just doesn't fucking just do the fucking Cesaro with it and just fucking.
I think if it's extreme rules, he should be able to bring a gun.
I mean, what was the best friends wanted to take a chainsaw out there, right? Like, come on, take a chainsaw out there. Let's get
tell me
real.
this.
You want to get extreme, bitch? Let's do it.
Don't tell me there's no rules in this combat, but then say I can't just shoot him.
All right, so if we're taking Andre, or I mean you, Andre,
Well,
Rock,
you would
and
take Andre
Austin.
off too.
No, I took those 2 off, but I'm not taking Austin off. But you,
Okay.
Andre, Rock, Austin, and I'm not saying that you have to nail it down right here on the show or anything, but like rough guesstimate off the top of your head, who do you think you would put in there?
I'd be very comfortable doing Danielson, Omega, and you know, there's enough guys in New Japan that I would put over Austin that I could fill that third slot with that. So Tanahashi, I think, would make sense. You look at the entire body of his work, I think Okada would make sense. Naito could make sense. I'm not personally like crazy about.
Okay, so I love Tanahashi. Don't get me wrong or anything, right?
Mhm.
And I know there's a big part of Tanahashi's career where he saved New Japan, right?
Yeah,
he saved it.
Call him the ace for nothing.
Yeah, but I can say the same thing about Austin. Austin saved WWE. Austin's fucking shit was in the tank during that fucking New Generation era. If he never turned into fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin, they probably would have lost to WCW.
I think Tanahashi's longest IWGP title run was longer than Austin's WWE run. How long was Austin's
There
WWE
was
run?
there was nobody else in New Japan though. That's why
But that's-
Tanahashi saved it, because there was nobody
Yeah.
else.
But that's
If there was a bunch of people there, Tanahashi wouldn't have been getting credited with saving it.
isn't that kind of the point though? I mean, carrying
No,
an
I disagree.
entire-
I don't have Bruno Sammartino on my list. So no, I don't think it's the point. I mean, I give super mad credit to fucking Tanahashi and whatever role Scott Hall had in that as well, but super fucking like ton of credit to Tanahashi for saving New Japan. Don't get me wrong. But I can say the same thing about Austin saving WWE, I think. I don't think it was as close as people were making out New Japan to being like legit gone or dispersing or whatever, but it was pretty fucking close. Like those ratings were in the fucking New Generation is some of the worst fucking WWF shit you'll ever see. And it's not because they didn't have guys that had talent, because you still had Bret Hart, Razor Ramon, Diesel, and Shawn there too. But the problem was that Vince didn't know whether he wanted to fucking go attitude or if he wanted to stay cartoony, so you still had a shit ton of dumbass characters in there at the same time. That was the issue.
Need more doinks.
I like Doink, but you get what I'm saying though. Bastion Booger, Duke the Dumpster Drozy, you know, like, come on, let's be real here.
Repo Man.
Repo Man, the country music version of Jeff Jarrett was so bad. I mean, I love it, but it's so bad. Like, if you go back and watch it, it's bad. It's not good. It's so cartoony bullshit. It was more for he had a Saturday morning roster that he was trying to put on Raw at night on Mondays is what it is. That's what the issue was, I think. So So you're okay with Osprey? Sorry, my bad. You're okay with
I put
Omega?
Osprey there too. Actually,
Character work.
Character work. Yeah, he's getting there.
That fucking contract signing with Jericho. If we get that Osprey in AEW where he's doing that kind of shit on a regular basis, then yeah. All right, but anyway, you have Flair, Omega, Danielson, and possibly Tanahashi.
Tanahashi would. I think I'd probably put Tanahashi there before I would put Okada and Naito. I'd have to think about it some more. But I mean, that's without even dipping into even.
Sitting out with facts and all this. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's why I said off the top of your head because I have Omega and Danielson on my list too, probably.
Yeah. Which is why it's crazy that you have so many people that are just like, oh, Omega's not good. He wrestled a 9-year-old girl. Bro, do you know how much harder it is to have like a good wrestling match with a 9-year-old girl than it is with another fucking wrestler?
I think my list, when it's all said and done, unless somebody comes along and does some insane shit, like maybe MJF has a shot to be on there, obviously, right?
Yeah. I was actually thinking about him when you were talking about
even Adam Page still technically has an outside shot to get on there if he can get on a roll and do some more stuff for like a longer period. But Jay White, obviously. But anyway, right now, I think mine would be like if wrestling just stopped today, mine would be very similar to yours, except I would have Austin on and you would not. Because I would have Flair, Omega, Danielson, and Austin.
You would completely ignore the long history of Japanese wrestling aside from a Gaijin. That's kind of fucked up.
Two Gaijin, because Danielson wrestled over there too.
Briefly.
It counts.
Yeah, I guess. Well, fucking Austin wrestled over there too, I guess.
He did.
Yeah.
And so did Flair.
Also Gaijin.
So did Flair. 4 Gaijin, baby. All wrestled in Japan.
Put Vader on that bitch while we're at it.
I mean, I would if he had more time to do promo stuff.
Yeah,
his character was cool as shit, and obviously his in-ring stuff was insane, but like promo-wise, he was nothing. He always had a manager and shit.
I think if MJF, as long as he doesn't stay on this stupid little thing he's doing now, where he's just, I guess the only way he knows to be a babyface in a promo is to get the crowd to chant shit, which I'm not. I don't like it.
I don't like it. I mean, it was fine at first, but now it's getting overdone. And he might be doing it on purpose because he might be going right back heel. We don't know yet. Maybe it's the only thing he knows how to do to get reaction as a babyface. He could have just kept being himself, though. I don't understand it.
Some of it hits and some of it doesn't. Like, some of it's funny, and then sometimes it'll be like the tofu thing.
I will say he killed. I don't give a fuck about the tofu thing. He still killed Jay White on that promo battle. Killed him.
I thought it was close.
Killed him.
I thought it was pretty close.
It was not close to me at all. I don't know what the hell Jay White was doing, but I'm giving Jay White a pass because he's not used to that style of promo. Like you were saying earlier, in Japan, it's a lot different. He's looking literally at a camera backstage and talking mad shit. There's been a ton of fucking Jay White promos that got put up from New Japan that you watch and it's like, oh man, this motherfucker can talk. But when he was in the ring with MJF, I feel like there was a drastic difference going back and forth, that MJF was a lot further ahead than he was.
Well, who's the champion now? Not MJF. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, okay.
Them fucking offering a title shot with a belt.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
Goddamn.
Offering he said a title eliminator for Hangman Adam Page. Yeah, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I give it a D. You give it less than that because you took 3 people off.
Yeah, I think at 25% you're at an F.
All right, 25. I give it a D. He give it an F. You want to give it F minus? You want to go all the way down? F minus? He got 1 right, so maybe just F. Just F then.
That's the thing too, though. Like the thing is, I wouldn't argue putting Flair there, but I would probably put somebody else other than Flair there.
I can't do it. Fucking love Flair. I can't put somebody else over Flair on the Mount Rushmore. Can't do it. Not when we're talking about everything. That motherfucker did it in the territory days, in Japan, in WCW, in WWE. Can't do it. Hugely successful, longest career of all time. Like 16-time world champion. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Oldest ride, longest line.
Yeah. All right, so I give it a D. He gives it an F. We got to move on, though, because we're already 3 hours into this, and this is not the Pat McAfee show. So let's go to our special segment of Mark That Remark. And
so you're very delayed on the YouTube thing for me, so you just send it in the chat.
Am I said something in the chat or no?
No. Send it in the chat on Discord. Like,
oh yeah, Mark That Remark. Yeah, I got you.
Because otherwise, I'm not gonna see it for like a fucking minute.
All right. Yeah, I don't know why it's so delayed on YouTube compared to Twitch. That's crazy because I thought the lag would be a lot less significant. But all right, give me a second. All right, so Upload file. Let's go here. And this is going to be it right here. There you go. Oh, did I send it? Or do I have to hit enter? There you go. There it is.
Oh, we got is this a fucking Instagram comment?
It is no Threads, yeah. Yeah, I mean same thing.
Threads. Gotcha.
Same shit. There you go. That's why we're doing mark that remark now. Because it can come from anywhere. YouTube, X, Twitter, Threads, whatever. Here we go. This is a good one too. All right. So I was replying to somebody else that had said something about the NXT influx of talent all of a sudden, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't blame them for doing it. But when it's so obvious that it makes the whole show make zero sense in the process, it's alarming. This looks like someone started a TEW 2020 game and just did their own shit out of nowhere, basically in the middle of storylines that were already going on.
You're talking specifically about the booking for this Tuesday.
For this Tuesday for NXT, correct. Then Lorenzo _red_5 said AEW doing the same shit. Randomly moved their show to Tuesday to fuck with WWE. WWE swings back extra hard on that pissant company. Well, at least he watched the Hall of Fame a couple of years ago. That's good. So I replied back, and this is my take on it, and then I'm going to just get Ryan's take in on it real quick because you don't really need anything other than what I'm about to say. Randomly move. Warner moved them because of the MLB wildcard playoffs, but keep living in your fantasy land, Lorenzo. Seems to be going well. Take it from there, my guy. What do you think about AEW moved their show so they could fuck with NXT? Because no one loves more than moving their show to some other competition so they could lose viewers. Because it's guaranteed that AEW's numbers are going to be lower than last week or the week before, etc. Because there's another wrestling program on at the same time. What if you're running a company? If you're Tony Khan, are you not saying, "Hey, man, let me just randomly go over there and fuck with NXT right quick"?
I love that he thinks that a pissant company has enough pull to tell fucking Warner Discovery, "Hey, I don't want to be on Wednesday, bro. I'm going to move to Tuesday this week. Just fucking deal with it. I'm doing some stuff to compete with this other guy because we just think it'll be a cool idea. And then you can put us back on Wednesday next week." What the f? This man have no fucking idea how any of this shit works? What? Why would he think that they are the ones making that call? That's crazy to me. If anything, the argument you would make is that they're such a pissant company that they don't have enough pull to tell their own station, like, no, don't fucking move our programming. What do you mean? Play that shit on a different channel. Play it on TNT. Like, that's
he
the weird
literally
part
is
to me.
acting like he doesn't know that the Warner Network exists.
Yeah, like AEW just broadcasts their own shit on YouTube or something. What do you mean? They're working through other people. Like they're getting directives from a higher power, and it's not Vince McMahon this time. Like okay. And also, they do the same thing. All right, let's say that that was true. Does it seem to you like they've changed their card around significantly from what it would probably be anyway if they were doing it on a Wednesday?
AEW,
like
no. AEW, it seems like a mini pay-per-view, but they're calling it Title Tuesday like they usually do when they do stuff on Tuesday, because they've always called it Title Tuesday whenever they have a Tuesday show.
Yeah.
It seems like a little mini pay-per-view, but I don't think they're going out of their way necessarily. It's not like they're fucking doing Omega versus Danielson 3 out here.
Because that's what I would book if I'm trying to counter program. I'd be like, yeah, first 60 minutes, Iron Man match, Danielson Omega. The second 60 minutes, Iron Man match, Zack Sabre Jr. and fucking whoever. Like that's so
like
weird.
legit, like it would be Danielson Omega and an Iron Man match. It'd be you know what I would do, dude? You know what I would do?
Danielson in both.
I would have no. Oh, okay, so in an Iron Man match, right? It's an hour between two people. Mm-hmm. I would have a 4-way 2-hour Iron Man match between MJF, Omega, Danielson, and Jay White. Yeah. Jay White. Yeah. And whoever gets the most fucking falls is the champion at the end of the 2-hour show. You have to wrestle for 2 hours.
And Christian's a special referee, and Edge is on commentary.
No, Moxley's on commentary.
Okay, Mox is on commentary, and Edge is the guest referee.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And then
Whoever should
and
be.
then every wrestler would have to come out with a woman so that no one can bitch about women not being on the show. So Omega would have to come out with Riho, Danielson had to come out with Brie, MJF had to come out with Delilah Doom or whatever her name was or whatever. Or no, you know what? I'd piss off MJF and make him come out with Statlander. And then Jay White.
He's married.
I don't know.
Just let him come out with his wife. That's fine.
Yeah, whatever. Just whatever. That's what I would do. That's how you would know if AEW was running something different. See, that's the problem. And that's what people don't understand is that the NXT and the Raw and SmackDown product are so piss poor from week to week that you can easily tell when they're trying to do something on purpose to get something. Whereas AEW is consistently fucking good matches every week. Like, damn, man. That's why all the memes exist about Tony Khan Dynamite versus Tony Khan Collision. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why those memes exist, because he's consistently putting on fucking banger fucking shows with banger matches involved.
I think when you're at the point that you are playing the fucking Undertaker's gong at the end of the NXT promo, implying that Undertaker, who has no fucking affiliation whatsoever with NXT in any capacity ever in his entire fucking career, is coming off his like one-man show, retirement tour, whatever, to come in and try to boost your fucking ratings. That's the most transparent counter-programming example ever. But you can't look at a single thing on AEW and say that couldn't have been on a regular AEW show.
Correct. And not only that, it's not even, I mean, it's that's the big one, obviously. That was like when everybody's like, what the fuck is this dumb shit, right? You're gonna waste an Undertaker entrance on a fucking Full Sail.
Hey, they gotta fill that 2 hours, baby.
Dude, on like I mean, he's gonna have to walk the slowest we've ever seen him walk because the ramp is so short. Like it's not gonna be anyway, but it was already stupid anyway, because you got John Cena in one corner and then Paul Heyman in another corner, and they've never interacted with these dudes at all. At all. This makes absolutely, like, that was already very transparent. But then, yeah, like you said, the gong, dude. Like, Asuka coming back and having a match with Roxanne Perez, I totally get that. She just lost the triple threat. She used to be in NXT. She had a huge undefeated run, was NXT champion. If you want to come back and fight Roxanne Perez, I'm okay with that. I still think it's counter programming. I still think you're trying to get a rating or a proper rating. But I would think that even on a regular Tuesday without AEW going head to head against you, like I did with the Becky Lynch stuff. But I can totally, I'm like, no, that's not that big of a deal. But when you bring in John Cena on one side, Paul Heyman on the other, because he got permission from Roman Reigns, which makes no fucking sense, to go be the fucking manager of Braun Breaker for one match. No, you can't do that. That doesn't make any sense. He's always been against the bloodline. What? Why wouldn't you be able to do that? And then you have the fucking Undertaker gong at the end, dude. Oh my God, Lorenzo, you're an idiot.
Maybe Paul Heyman isn't an independent contractor.
I mean, Paul Heyman is what the well, he's the wise man for him, but you get what I'm saying. Like, he's the what do they used to call himself? The advocate. Yeah, advocate. He's the advocate.
Even sending Cody down there, I don't think is that egregious. Like, if it was just Cody that they were doing,
if he's announcing like the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic or something like that, I'm cool with that. They said he's got a big announcement, but I feel like that's got to be what it is, because they're doing the Breakout Women's Tournament too. So they already got one tournament running, so maybe that's what it is. I'm okay with that if that's what it is.
That one to me didn't stand out as like, oh, they're clearly trying to fuck with AEW. Even with Cody coming from there, that one didn't stand out to me. But John Cena, The Undertaker, bro, The Undertaker, you might as well just put the goddamn Roman Reigns on there at this point. What are we doing? Have Austin make a fucking appearance. So
Roman would make more sense, because at least Roman was in NXT. At least Roman was in NXT. He would make more sense than Undertaker.
Was he in NXT or was he?
Yes, he was in NXT.
I thought he was just FCW.
He was in that too.
Well, I know, but I thought he left FCW before it became NXT.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he was in NXT. I'm almost positive.
Probably, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess for the year that it was, kind of makes sense.
Rollins was still wearing cow tights. Yes, trust me, he was.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
What do you think the Undertaker does?
Nothing.
He just comes out and says, "Welcome to NXT," and then goes home. Like what?
That'd be so good. And the amount of money they would have to pay him to do that so they can counter program a pissant company that they don't think is anything would be fucking funny. Now, I will say that NXT, I can't sit here and be like, oh, well, they think AEW is nothing, and then load up NXT because they don't think NXT is anything anyway either.
Right.
They try to view NXT the same way as they do AEW. I fully believe.
But if that were true, they wouldn't feel a need to put anything extra on it.
No, I mean, I think they view them as the same. So I think that is why they're doing extra stuff on here. But I just think the shit is so egregious, it's fucking ridiculous and so transparent. Yeah. Now, if AEW had to move to Monday, I don't think they would be doing that much shit. Because if they did it on Monday, that would be a bigger statement to me. Because you keep saying that they're a piss-in company, they're developmental based. I mean, you're implying that they're developmental levels of NXT with the Jade Cargill shit, with the Billy Gunn Hall of Fame shit, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That
bringing in Pillman.
If you bring in a bunch of fucking crazy people for a Raw or a SmackDown because you just happen to be going head to head with AEW that day, then that's different. But I get why they're doing it on NXT because they view it as the same. But the people that they're bringing in to do it don't make any sense. Their positions on the card don't make sense.
Not a great sign that the two people that they think of to bring in are dudes that are retired, basically, or semi-retired, and like both well over 40. So it is strange to me that they wouldn't, like, if you had a lot, like, let's say that you were trying to counter program it and you were trying to get more eyes on it, that they don't have enough confidence in their main roster product being able to do that they wouldn't just put like normal main roster guys over there. Like you send LA Knight over there, maybe have a spot or something with like I said, Roman, like that would be fine. Like he's a big name over there, Seth Rollins, whatever. Like they're not putting those guys over there. Because what it seems like to me is that they feel like those guys are not as big or as like interesting as having fucking Undertaker show up and do literally nothing because he can barely fucking move. That's crazy. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I don't like it either. Like I would have been more okay with guys that were actually in NXT that became big stars on the main roster to go back for this show. It would have been able to
run it as a fucking NXT alumni night and have everybody that you have on the main roster that became big out of NXT go over there and wrestle NXT guys. That'd be cool.
You can't brainstorm that much, man. You just got to go with it, dude. You can't brainstorm like that.
All fucking 2 minutes it took us to get to that conclusion? That's crazy.
But yeah, so this is for you, Lorenzo _Red_5. By the way, Red 5's not good for you, I believe. So remember that.
Mm-hmm. Listen up, you prick! You don't know shit! Your opinions suck! You fucking mark!
That doesn't work for me, brother.
You're gonna be using that one a lot.
There we go. Good on you, Lorenzo, my guy. Now we get to the part of the show, and we're way over because I don't ever want to have over a 3-hour show, but hey, whatever. If we have that much content, then we have that much content. We had 3 big shows to talk about, so I apologize if, this is going, I mean, it's fucking 4 o'clock and I got to go to work, so it's going to suck. But here we go. Let's be positive on the way out, though. Let's stay positive. My boy DDP here. What are some things, a couple things, 2, 3 max, that you liked throughout the week in wrestling?
I'm not quiet right now because there weren't any. Obviously, there were a lot, especially when we had so many good matches. I'm trying to think of something aside from X and X had a good match, though.
Yeah. Okay. How about this? I'll go first, and then you can go. I'll go. Just Tony Storm. Timeless Tony Storm. Just her.
The character was
all of it. Right, just Tony Storm. Yeah.
Jay and Cody at the scrum. That was a nice positive.
All right. Yeah, no, I'll take that. That's good. That's a win. That's a dub. All right, let me see. Let's see. My turn. Let's go with I'll go with you know what? Let's say positive. I really like the fact that that the whole story with the Edge and Darby filming the fucking vignette or whatever right before, and them bonding and whatever and doing that, it sounded like, I mean, that was a cool story that they brought up. I think that was pretty cool. So him coming right into the company and going right to work with Darby and contacting him to get a car and all that shit, and because they happen to be in Seattle or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. So
I think
that was
maybe
a cool
just
moment.
Edge in general. I'm pretty happy for him. The way that he was describing everything, the way that you could see him in like the fan cam footage and stuff from after the show when he was going around, like everybody was, really excited that he was there. He was excited to be there. The way that he talked about it at the scrum, you could tell that he was like really rejuvenated and interested and like engaged in a way that I don't think he's been in WWE for a while in the matches that he's had or the promos that he's been doing there and stuff like that. So it was nice to see him like lit up, super happy to be there, excited to see what's coming for him.
All right, and my final one will be going to Swerve for getting a huge win finally in AEW. So just him getting the win. The match I gave it 5 stars, but we're not going to say matches. So just Swerve getting the win when everybody really wanted him to get the fucking win, even though he was the heel. Finally doing it against somebody that's looked at as higher than him in Hangman, getting the win over him, so it actually propels you up. I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah, it's nice to see him start to get. They've clearly got plans to utilize him and push him up the card, and I think everybody's been waiting on that for a while. He's got a lot of fans within the company. I know that Moxley was a really big fan of his Lucha Underground stuff, apparently. So there you go. Yeah, cool.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the MonsterCast today. Huge show, obviously. I might be chopping this one up and putting a bunch of different videos up throughout the week, in case you didn't catch it live, because no one's going to sit there and watch fucking 3 hours and 30 minutes of this. There's no way. There's no way. And I don't blame you, honestly. But I appreciate everybody that did come through. If you did come through to watch it, if you liked the video, whatever. But like I said at the beginning of the video, for every new YouTube subscriber for the month of October, I will be shaking the magical 8-ball on stream. And just to give you a little, I think I still have it set up. I still have it set up? It'll be under MonsterCast.
Under Wrestling Journalist still probably, wouldn't it?
I have different stuff. Oh, there it is. Gotta still work. Oh yeah, I gotta replace it though. It's a little off centered. But yeah, there it is. Will be everything that pops up will be an item. So for every new YouTube subscriber for the month of October, I will shake this 8-ball right here, and we will donate whatever item pops up in it to the local Humane Society here to help out cats, dogs, and the employees as much as we can. I think we're up to what I said, 6, I think, so far. 5 or 6. It was 137, and I think it was 142 before we got on. So subscribe to the channel. It's free, and you'll be helping out some animals in need in the process. Appreciate everybody coming through. This has been the MonsterCast. I'm Jack. That's Ryan. Deuces.